for it, Stephen.
Very cool. Okay, so quick preface. Obviously, everything you're going to see here is a work in progress, specifically as it relates to UI along with visual effects. However,
me too, dude.
You are going
just got home
to
from work.
see
I'm excited.
lighting update as well with this Bard gameplay. The lighting update is not complete yet. However, you are going to see some visual differences.
This is
particularly as
extremely important for something that we'll see here in the future.
Settings, eye adaptation, interior lighting,
the lighting update,
those types of things. In addition to that, there are still musical compositions that are outstanding for some of the Bard abilities. So some of these abilities might be placeholder audio as well, particularly the chants, I believe it's called.
I wonder if hold on. I wonder if they have the video up yet
that
here
being
on
said,
YouTube.
We had a lot of fun. It's a 2-hour-long gameplay session. We're going to start out by showcasing each of the individual abilities.
Because they said they were going to fix the audio.
Then we're going to move into a point of interest that you guys haven't seen before, called the Daral Estates. There's a lot of story behind the Daral Estates with regards to the Riverlands area. I think you guys are going to enjoy it.
All right. We will see you all in about 2 hours. If you have any questions or anything like that, like we said, make sure that you're just posting them in the chat.
Nope, it is currently not live.
Fun enjoying it over there. We'll be kind of grabbing those because our lovely community managers are watching all the things.
The last one was server meshing.
On the flip side.
Ooh, that's loud. The music is always loud. I wonder if they can turn that down or not. Oh no, you're fine. I mean, they're just. I know Elamoto, aka Big Haas.
Hello, everybody, and welcome
hasn't watched it yet, but I've seen it.
Another day in Vera, and we have an exciting stream for you today. For the first time in Ashes of Creation history, we are going to be showing off the Bard, and it is a good. As you can see, it is a good-looking Bard. Right now, this armor set.
I love. I was like looking at this shield floating, and I'm like, why is there a shield floating? And then I was like, oh shit, it's Thogli.
And Manny did this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it looks
dude,
so good.
Thogli got so many DMs. It was funny.
By 5 of our all 5 of you are designers. We don't have any engineers today. We don't have any artists today. We're all designers. How selfish is that of us? But,
no, you're fine overall. You're chilling. You're chilling.
By 5 of our glorious designers, many of whom have been on the show before. But for the first time, we have a sound dude with us, Tori.
How a sound dude.
Tori?
Doing great. And I think I would put myself in the artist category more than designer because I don't really get the numbers. I just make things go.
That is true. You're representing here the artists. That is very true. I didn't even think about that. But Tori, we're excited to have you because, of course, the Bard is a very sound-oriented class, probably the most of all of our archetypes in the game, and you have done a phenomenal job with these sounds.
So this,
thank you.
Yeah, so excited.
Bard outfit is in-game cosmetic.
We also have
that you can achieve in-game achievable cosmetic.
3 on the.
So it's actual armor that you get
Trad,
in the game.
Brian, Bucky, how you guys
I think they said on Twitter it was from the Steel Bloom thing during a Metropolis type of dungeon.
Yes.
So that's some new information for us.
We have a floating giant spellbook in front of us, and for the first time, we're going to be looking at the spellbook weapon as well. Brian, I know you did a lot of work on that.
Yeah, myself and other members of the team like Noah and Matt, especially put a lot of work into this because it's
3-0 at 10 minutes. Let's go.
The typical way that we attach.
About to win these team fights.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Massive Kennen ults coming in.
And then we also have with us one of our glorious NPC senior designers, Doug. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to killing some monsters.
Yes, and we have some new and interesting monster types that we're going to talk a little bit about that have been implemented that is going to shake up a little bit of the encounter design, which I know you and your team have been doing a lot of work on.
Yeah, excited to show things off.
Very cool. So, first and foremost, where are we?
That spellbook is a little big,
of course,
but I do like the fact that it's like floating.
An area.
Look at that little dwarf.
That I don't think we've ever.
He's a little
been at
cutie.
before. This is the. Where is this, Bucky? This is the Daral Estates.
Yep, that's right. We're about to venture through the Daral Estate, and there's some used to be owned by the family of Daral way back in the day. Now, after the return to Vera, a bunch of peasants moved in and were farming the land for a while, but now I think some more sinister forces have taken over and are reanimating the dead, and all sorts of bad stuff's going on here, so we gotta go get to the bottom of this.
Love it. And it is daytime out currently in the spring time. 3 days, 3 hours, and 35 minutes remaining until summer. I love that.
Oh shit! There's like an actual timer on that. I didn't even notice. Oh my god. Hold on. Let's see if I can get this. This is hilarious. It doesn't like. Oh yeah, I can zoom in. Oh, it's perfect. Okay, let's see if I can go here. It's Jova. It's Jova, dude. That's fucking hilarious. Oh, man.
Okay, so normally what we've done in the past when we have new archetypes is we kind of go through each of the abilities. And Bucky, I know that obviously you are the master of the Bard. This is your class design. As many of you know, Dr. Bucky has a wide repertoire of skill sets, as well as his work on the system side. He's been doing a lot of work on the combat side, and the Bard is near and dear to his heart. So Bucky, talk to me a little bit about the inspiration for this Bard class before we start getting into some of the abilities.
Oh man, yeah, we had tons of different inspirations. Obviously, you know, the lineage, Arcage, Sword Singer, Blade Dancers, I believe.
Yes.
But then from other MMOs as well, like some concepts from WoW and stuff we really gravitated towards. But one of the big things we wanted to do with this Bard specifically was not to focus specifically on just song or dance, but have kind of a culmination of a bunch of different of these themes all together in the same kit. So as you can see down the ability bar, you know, we got some melodies, dances, songs, all working together to build out this kit.
All right, so I'm opening up the skill tree here, and now obviously we're level 10. So for those of you guys who are tuning in for the first time, I just want to preface, as is necessary in our obligatory kind of discussion point here.
Oh, actually,
everything you see is a work in progress. That includes mainly the UI elements, the effects, visual effects. But what you're going to see right now, we have a lot of these abilities already spec'd. You wouldn't normally have.
Oh, did the audio cut out?
Today's demonstration. We are obviously going to go outside of what is typical in order to kind of give you guys insight to the class.
Yeah, I did.
So this skill tree that we...
So we've got... For the skill tree, we've got a few things. We've got... I don't know where you start. It looks like you start on this bar. You get to choose which spell you want, and then it goes up into this thing. Interesting. And then you start with this, which is, I think it's Quick Wit, right? And then you can choose your melodies here. Interesting. There's like 3 different like things you can spec into. Like he spec'd into this Lunar Knight. He's also got Chili. This is a different finger gun spell. Interesting. I don't know.
We've done a little bit of a rework on skill tree progression. Trad, do you want to talk a little bit about what we've changed for the purposes of Alpha 2?
We've got 3 finger gun spells.
Absolutely. Yeah, so for those who were accustomed to some of the structures that we had in place before, they were very rigid, right? Like there were very specific paths that were linear, and if you wanted to get to a particular skill, you would have to take a very set path to get there. And while some of that is desired, like, you know, if you don't have any of that, then you don't really have a skill tree at all. But we wanted to open it up and give a little bit more freedom of choice. So
I like that.
In this version of the tree, you'll notice that rather than these ongoing linear branches going in different directions, you have essentially tiers of skills. So you'll see 3 tiers: the bottom, the middle, and the top. As you invest points into each tier, eventually you'll unlock access to the next tier. So for example, to get to that second tier, you need to put 4 points into the tier below. So it gives you a bit more freedom of which skills you pick. while keeping you within that tier before it lets you go on to the next one. And usually each tier has a bit more advanced abilities. So it's also a good way of introducing you to the archetype.
Awesome.
That's pretty good.
And this is obviously something that we have distributed across all of the archetypes for the purposes of Alpha 2. That's something that you and your team are going to be collecting a lot of information from.
Oh, interesting.
From players as they, give us their feedback and play through.
So this isn't just a Bard thing. All the skill trees that we've seen previously have changed, technically.
I notice here, Bucky, that at the start of this tree, there is an instrument selection. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the way we decided to do instruments is they're mainly just a cosmetic choice right now. So players can choose as their first choice as a bard what instrument they want to play all their melodies.
I like that.
And so this will actually change the animations and change the sound effects of how the melodies will play.
Love it. That's super cool. And obviously this is something that will be expanded.
Okay, so I wanted
future, right?
I wanted like dancing, juggling, and each instrument to have like its own skill tree, but obviously that's a lot of work design side. Obviously these won't be the only 3 instruments that you can pick, but so far these are what you can do, and a lot of it right now is cosmetic. I'm totally fine with this, right? So if it is clearly just like a roleplay / cosmetic thing, I like that a lot. It doesn't make the design hard. It makes things more easily templatable. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of this.
Different instruments that you'll have access to, but it allows obviously players the opportunity to kind of customize their own personal Bard experience. Now,
Exactly, yeah.
After this instrument, talk to me a little bit about some of the first abilities we're going to take a look at. I see they're here on the skill bar 1 through
5.
We're starting out at level 10 here.
Where do we want to start?
Generally been like level 15 or whatever.
These first 5 abilities are all of your melody abilities, and so they all share some common similarities. So basically, they're all
30-meter range,
persistent AOE buffs or debuffs. So the first one is Cheerful Melody, which applies healing.
Which I'm going to pause and heals once it gets towards the end.
So I see that here, that this
of the ability
heals the party for 15%.
So it's okay. So this is probably good to move my camera out of the way here. Is there a way that I can zoom in here? Not really. Here. Let's see. I might be able to do this. We'll just make this big, right? So basically, this is how the tooltips look now. 30-meter range, 20-second cast. It's following a very League of Legends-esque type of tooltip. And this is actually literally something I had just said yesterday in the Golden Feather Tavern. We were talking about bards and how I want tooltips to show things. It says lightly heals for 15% magic damage, multiplied by healing every 2 seconds. Melodies can be played concurrently. I think the one thing that I had to note that I didn't want was pretty much this setup. What I wanted was to actually display the actual number on the tooltip. Like, I don't care about knowing the percentage of my magic power. What is my magic power and how much healing am I going to do with this ability? That is something that I wanted. That's something that I wanted to see. Obviously, it's not being shown right now. Could still be implemented here in the future, but not what we are seeing initially here. So, oops, that's the wrong thing. I'll let this play again.
Magical power healing.
Magical power every 2 seconds. And if I look at my magical power, I'm at 33 magical power.
And Stephen did say that he wanted to do further than just the cosmetics for the instruments.
Our primary.
Yeah, I think they will eventually have like their own like little detail.
Power, how we derive.
It's just not within scope at the moment.
And what contributes to it?
Or they just haven't done it for this live stream.
So your main attribute that waterfalls into magical power is going to be intellect. And so that's a large portion of intellect's giving you magical power, but it also gives you other stats such as critical power.
So because you guys can't see it right now, oops, let me go back. Base power equals 10, so 10 magical power. And then the rating is 234, which equals 23.4, and the total is 33.4 magical power. The magical power is being the base percentage that it's scaling off of, and then it's multiplied by the healing, and it ends up being like, what, 8?
And so that's a large portion of intellect's giving you magical power, but it also gives you other stats such as critical power, I believe accuracy, and one other one.
I'm always, I don't know if I like accuracy as a stat. Accuracy seems weird, like, especially in like a tab target based system. Feels really weird to me.
Passing speed.
Cool.
But yeah, so each of the attributes will waterfall into a variety of these stats, but magical power is an important one for increasing the damage or healing of your abilities.
Okay, so to demonstrate this, we probably need somebody in the party.
I just don't like RNG, and I feel like accuracy adds an element of RNG.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess if you have higher accuracy, you could be like higher towards the max potential of the ability. Maybe that's what that means. I don't know.
You're literally hiding behind a shield. You're smaller than the shield. I think this book is larger than.
I love that the shield does not change size for the dwarf.
Dwarven strat right there.
Oh no!
I nuked him.
Okay, he's nuked. All right. So you've lost some health, Brian. Now we are going to. Oh, by the way, I think this is the first time since Alpha 1 that we have had a Dunir in one of the live streams. So
I love that he flips. Cool. Thogli hates it.
All right, so now let me use this cheerful melody and see.
He wants the flipping being turned off.
78.
Ooh, +6.
Oh, very cool. And talk to me about cheerful melody, kind of how it works.
And then he gets a +8 because he was targeted.
To the whole party. So everyone's getting this little, very, very light healing over time, but the biggest thing this does is it increases all the other healing you receive. So obviously this will combo great with the cleric.
I don't know.
And it's kind of like, the clerics are still...
See, we get some random +8s here.
More of a support role, and they'll really will power up clerics and all the other archetypes when they're in the party.
Okay, so I can click on this melody, and it says it's a 20-second cast. So basically, it's ticking throughout that time. And can I use other abilities while the melody is playing?
Oh, they're crits?
That's right.
Oh, that makes sense.
Another big part about melodies is that they work concurrently with your other abilities.
So it's a random crit chance that it just randomly hits 8.
Weapon combos, dodge rolling, and that'll all not interrupt.
That would make sense. That would make a lot of sense.
Cool. And now, Tori, we don't have kind of the final versions of our composed music in for these melodies, but the intent there is to have our composer be creating these melodies to kind of live harmoniously with the ambient music of the biome as well as the other skills and abilities?
Correct. It's going to be a decently complex system, so it will take a while to get it properly implemented, but we don't want the music to interfere with your experience in a very atonal way, especially for at least those bard melody abilities.
So we can visually see here.
Want the music to interfere with your experience in a very atonal way, especially for at least.
So, like, almost to the back of that tree, that's 30 meters. That's a pretty long distance, 30 meters, and I think a lot of the abilities that we've seen so far has been 30 meters. So you're going to have a lot of long-range combat within this proximity of bards. So you can either have 5 bards all doing different melodies. You can have one bard that is just, everybody is within getting a beneficial melody as well. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this and a lot of different ways that you can set it up for raids. I know a lot of people are going to be concerned about zerging and zerg balls with 5 bards being within that zerg ball, but I think the way that they balanced this was it must be within your party, and it is a party-wide buff and not just an area-wide buff. So that is something that I noticed that will deter from these zergs unless you are in a party. So interesting thing to note there.
At least those bard melody abilities, those are going to be happening enough that you don't want them to be too annoying.
Very cool. And now, Bucky, specifically, you mentioned that this cheerful melody, it augments the healing received from the primary healing archetype, which of course is the cleric. And talk to me a little bit about the differences between the types of healing effects conferred through the Bard archetype versus the types of healing effects conferred through the Cleric.
Yeah, for sure. Like I was saying a little bit earlier, bards are definitely going to they'll be able to do some healing, but it's going to be more kind of regenerative, healing over time, lighter. The real, throughput burst healing is going to always come from clerics.
Bard is hots, clerics are
bards
burst
will be able to keep,
heals.
a couple players alive, and they'll just have to, play defensively and careful, but yeah, so it's a little bit slower healing.
Cool, very cool. So obviously we're keeping that burst healing.
Obviously clerics also have hots.
Those are the people who are going to be able to actually sustain you in a pinch or through significant damage received, whereas the Bard is an augment to that and empowers the cleric's ability to kind of confer those effects on the party.
Exactly.
Okay, very cool. Cheerful Melody, that's awesome. I love the effects for this. I
like the idea that you can have a DPS Bard, a healing Bard, a mana regen Bard.
Just killing it.
There's a lot of different versions that you can spec into.
Yep, Nat did the icons and all
so you're
the
not
concepts,
pigeonholed
so the
into
effects, which
one
really,
thing.
help the whole
You can really
process out.
specialize if you want to.
Very well done. Love it. Okay, let's talk about our next
You have like a
melody.
utility CC Bard.
Yep, so this next one's called Pensive Melody, and this is just a slow mana regen over time.
Okay.
So this is kind of just if your party's low on mana, doesn't need healing, doesn't need some of the other effects, you can switch to a mana regenerations to give everybody a little bit of sustain for longer, fights and stuff like that.
Now, we've seen one other mana recovery ability in the past, I believe, and that was on the Cleric. And that was conferred mana restoration through your weapon attack.
Yep, I've got it spec'd right now, and I'll be using that as well. So those two things in conjunction will be really nice for the lucky target that gets it. The biggest difference, obviously, is that is a single target ability that you can only maintain on one target at a time. So it's more potent, but again, kind of reinforcing the theme of the
pretty
healing.
big range. Get mana regen.
The Bard is party-wide benefits. Not to say
there's a cooldown on each of the ticks here on the top left. So it goes 3, 2, 1, pop, 3, 2, 1, pop.
So,
3,
Doug,
2,
as you're
1,
kind of
pop,
offering
which is kind of nice because that's like a
designs
tempo
for,
thing.
Obviously,
it's almost like a musical tempo.
You guys are taking into account the restorative ability of a particular archetype design or party comp around these mana abilities, right? Because you want to tax those parties significantly in between different polls, and taking into account what restorative mana there is available to a party design is calculated in the NPCs, correct?
Yeah, and you're going to see that a little bit today. I think we're going to start without Trad here, dealing as the cleric. So we're going to go in with a tank and only a bard, and have that sustained support heal us. And then we're going to have a cleric join us later.
No, that range is actually really far for these melodies.
The determining factor is if
I wonder if
you're small,
they may be able to
as your only support / healing if you have a tank, but then maybe if you don't have a tank, you'll want to bring a cleric.
Also, it's crazy. So these numbers are like two mana regen on every pop, but we have a 430 max mana bar over here for just the tank. For the mage, it's much more. I think Steven's character is leveled up. He has more HP than the fighter as a mage. Doesn't seem right. I think his character is probably leveled a little bit higher. But yeah, I think these numbers feel low, but these HP and mana bars feel high at the same time. I don't know. Actually, maybe they're not. I think they are very reminiscent of Tibia numbers. They're very, very close to Tibia numbers now that I think about it. Maybe the numbers just feel lower than they are.
Composition, strength of enemies, these all things that matter.
Now I notice that when activating these melodies, that the radius seems to be pretty significant. I'm assuming that on the visual effects side, that this ring, as it expands and kind of ends out there,
I do like that it's giving visual clarity on the range.
As a bard within, or
it's very clean.
My party needs
even if you have a bunch of bards all posting it, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, the idea was we wanted to have just something.
You can see these little pixies that are circling around. when it hits
kind of like a default,
on like who is actually getting the mana regen.
Choose. Whereas the other abilities are more mana
like other users may not be able to see the 2 uptick on the mana regen, but they will be able to see these little floating things
between party and AoE abilities. Usually with things that are party based, we're a bit more lenient on the radius, just because it is already limited on one axis to members only within your party. But then we'll also have abilities that target an area, and it'll hit any number of people or whatever, like regardless of whether they're in your party or not. But they're more
see those little blue things right there.
Abilities.
I think that was a really good
area, and it'll
visual indicator right there.
People or whatever, like regardless.
See, like that. Those little notes are circling around each character that it affects. That's a really nice visual clarity thing for people that won't be able to see the numbers.
Or not, but they're more proximity throttled.
Very cool. Now talk to me about Epic Melody.
This one is a movement speed boost to your whole group. So
huge.
If you need to run away or get someplace quick,
everybody has been asking for a movement speed buff on Bard.
Fast, then you can switch to this one.
I don't think there's a single person that wasn't asking for it.
Oh, okay. I see he gets a little bit more down and dirty in this one. The animations look great.
Yeah. So we kind of have different styles of animations for each of the instruments, depending on, like, if the song's a kind of a more calm song or an intense song. But yeah, this is a nice speed boost for the whole team. You guys got to get someplace.
Look at them run around.
That's awesome. Of course, no Bard would be complete without some type of movement modifier.
Exactly, right.
I love it. Okay, talk to me about Cathartic Melody.
This one will give.
I love the little headbang. He's like
to heal themselves, so it's kind of like a leech song. So it's kind of an alternative way to
jamming
some healing support. But obviously it only will work with the group that has a lot of people doing a lot of damage. So if you're in kind of like the healer group or the tank group, maybe it wouldn't be as good to use that one. But if you're in a group full of, all DPS, it might be more effective way to provide some bonus healing.
Yeah, that'd be really good.
Your attacks have a 25% chance to heal yourself for 50% of the damage done. Is that 50% of damage done on a per ability basis, or just for your weapons attack, or all the above?
Right now it's all of the above, but we can keep iterating on this. But it feels
so it's Omnivamp.
It feels like it gives a little bit of support, but obviously you wouldn't be able to just completely replace the need for a cleric with this. So but obviously all the exact numbers are we're still iterating on as we get closer to Alpha 2.
One extra thing to add to this, I like the strategic or tactical choice that you're kind of constantly making between.
I don't think talking about like the numbers and the balancing is really important, but I do think the concept, like talking about the concept of it, is really, really important. So currently, whenever you deal damage, you have a 25% chance, to actually leech a portion of your damage. I do think that whether you're doing weapon attacks or ability attacks could be game changing. And that is something that they'll have to balance around. But yeah, I think it is really good to kind of like think about it as like, okay, right now it's just Omnivamp. It's not Lifesteal where you're attacking with your weapon and getting that back. It is also like these big abilities like Cataclysm and stuff like that that could like, if it hits, if you get that 25% chance and you hit a big AoE and that AoE procs on all those targets, you get massive life back. That could be a huge game changer, Like, these are the types of things that, like, could be like, oh, that ability is bullshit, or like, oh my god, that was clutch. But, like, RNG being clutch is not very fun. I think I would like them to remove RNG from that ability and balance it around that. So if I'm going to be, like, constructively criticizing them, I would say get rid of the 25% chance to heal and then balance around the actual healing on it. Make it 100% chance and then just balance the healing numbers based on that. I think that is a much better way to design these types of abilities.
Cathartic and the other healing.
RNG is always awful.
Just because, you want to keep cheerful going maybe when you're running between encounters or packs, and there's not a lot of like activity going on, and then when you see like a bunch of like
Grappler says this in chat. It's 13% lifesteal. It's basically 12.5% lifesteal. People are saying, "Oh, wow, that's a lot," but in reality, 9 to 15% lifesteal is generally about what games do for lifesteal percentages. So it's literally right there in the middle. It is a very middle of the road type of lifesteal. So I think Grappler made a really good point in chat.
Combat or something happening, you probably want to switch over to that. So you're almost like kind of bouncing between them while healing instead of just passively having one going on all the time.
Multiplicative.
There's a little bit of weaving opportunity.
Scale differently.
We'll get into in a little bit later too.
Absolutely. I mean, how
because it's 15% your magic power times the healing.
In, raids or
sorry, that's cheerful melody. Cathartic is 25% chance to heal for 50%. So yeah, I think if you make it 100% chance to be 13% lifesteal, I think that's fine.
Strategic or tactical choice that you're kind of constantly making between cathartic and the other healing one, cheerful, just because you want to keep cheerful going. Maybe
hell yeah, roar
encounters or packs. And there's not a lot of like activity going on, and then when you see like
still like a 30-minute game though,
combat or something happening, you
long game
switch over to that. So you're almost like kind of bouncing between them while healing instead of just passively having one going on all the time. Well, and then also there's a little bit of weaving opportunity that I think we'll get into in a little bit.
Weaving,
absolutely. I mean, how often in
I'm a big fan of weaving. Or, any sort of skill expression, I'm a big fan of.
You will want to burn through mana, right? I mean, during that time, you may want to have your cathartic melody active while your DPSs are burning through their mana. Versus when you're in a lull pull or something a bit more sustainable, keeping that 20% healing received and the regen up. That makes a lot of sense. So effectively, at this 25% chance to heal for 50% of the damage done, that's almost like a, on average, probably around 12-13% consistent lifesteal.
Exactly. Yeah. So it kind of really depends on the situation, right? Like you guys were saying. So, but cool. It's nice to have the options.
Absolutely. All right, talk to me about menacing melody.
But that's also why, so that conversation is also why I wish they'd just have the number on the ability itself, simply because people don't understand percentages and like multiples, especially if you're like a kid and you're just getting into the game and you're like, oh, this is a big number, I'm gonna put it on my bar, but really it's a small number, and you're like, oh, this doesn't seem to heal for as much. I think visual clarity in what the ability actually does is very, very important. Lidulu said that he thinks that this is how kids should learn their abilities and stuff, or learn math and things like this so that they can get better at the game. But I don't know, man. I want the games to succeed, and I want more players in the game, and I think having kids that don't know how to multiply be able to read the ability and say this number is bigger than that number is a good thing. And so I think making tooltips to easily read how much your ability actually does is actually really important for the game.
Okay, so this one is the one different one. This only affects enemies, so it applies a debuff to all nearby enemies that'll make them take increased damage.
Okay, so a debuff. Debuffs are rarely done in games. So they take 5% more damage, which I don't know if that's an armor and magical penetration thing, or if it's just 5% base damage. So that's interesting.
You can see over there that my Celette in the background has this menacing melody debuff. Yeah, see, so it'll make them be taking more damage.
I like the synergy between that and cathartic as well.
Yeah, those are two great ones to weave together.
Okay, so this basically you forego benefit to the party directly and instead apply that 10% debuff to enemies within the radius. And again, that's a pretty significant radius.
Yeah, I think we were planning on making that target limited to...
Yeah, I love that you can see this little red musical note that surrounds him as visual clarity on who's actually affected. And honestly, I don't know
the rest of the melodies are, but
because it's still ticking here, this is still ticking, but it's gone. I think that if it's affected, maybe it's too much visual clutter that it just keeps spinning around them, or like if it just gives them like a little note above their head or something like that. I think that would be very helpful, because once it goes away, then you can't tell anymore, and I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, that's something we're gonna add, probably like 8 nearest targets or something like that, right?
Okay.
So
Like, I hate having to like look at buffs on the very top
yeah
to like
Cool.
see what is going on.
Okay,
I would
so
rather
those are the
see it
5
visually on the
melodies.
character so
Let me
that I
open
can
this back
visually
up again,
react
just
to
so I can
them.
Take a look.
If we wanted now, we could just talk about the 2 melody passive specialization options, because we were kind of mentioning that, like the weaving style versus like the charge up style.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the up at the top in the middle, the plus sign. That's where you can choose. Yeah, so this is a passive that unlocks level 10. So there's the 2 options here. So one of them is called Crescendo, which is your
Okay.
melodies just power up slowly over time over the course of that 20-second cast. And then the second option is called Counterpoint, where every 20 seconds you can switch between melodies, and the last melody its effects will still be active. So you can.
This is so fucking cool. This is one of the best things that you can add to the game. Do I want to be a person that doesn't need to read anything? I have low skill floor. I'm just going to pick Crescendo. Do I want to know exactly what my melodies are doing and how to use them and how to synergize properly? I'm going to choose Counterpoint. I think this is huge. Counterpoint could be huge skill ceiling when it comes to awareness of like abilities, buffs, and stuff that are happening with your character. And I don't know how it'll affect with other bards in the party and whatnot, but I am largely excited for this design concept. I was really interested to see like how would they implement skill expression into the bard, and I'm super happy with this.
Kind of weave 2 melodies at once, which opens up a lot of cool potential.
Very cool. Yeah. Now that is that is something that I think is even expandable upon as we continue beyond Alpha 2 above level 25. You may add additional melody concurrency. Is that what you're thinking?
Exactly. Yeah, we might even just make this Counterpoint thing just something that you get for sure. Like weaving, we want all bards to do, because that's really fun gameplay. A lot of bard players gravitate towards, and it really does make it fun with the melodies. When you can combine 2 of 5, that's a lot of different options, right?
Right. So this is.
I like the way he set up his bar too. This is pretty interesting.
Spectrum choice versus a higher vertical effect, and
it's a very visually aesthetic.
Increase in power over the course of 20 seconds. This is something that scales on a step.
The one thing I don't like about it is it's a little bit left justified. I wish it could be a little bit more centered,
right now,
but yeah.
But,
it's probably because he just doesn't have the 3 abilities over here.
Like every 5 seconds or something, it chunks up a little bit. But that's kind of the option for people who don't maybe want to have to deal with weaving back and forth and want to just kind of stick to a song and get rewarded for staying in one song for longer, one melody for longer.
Cool.
Yeah, I definitely think Crescendo is good.
Centric, the other 2?
For like lower skill variation.
There's dance mastery specialization and song mastery specialization. But if you wanted to demo, we could demo the Counterpoint one really quick.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Like the weaving Counterpoint.
All right.
Perfect.
If you confirm that, and now, so now if you do the cheerful melody, you'll see the buff we're all getting is going to start lasting longer and longer on our party frames.
Mm-hmm.
So once we get to 20 seconds, it'll be applied at 20 seconds. So that means the next 20 seconds we can switch to a different melody, and then this one will kind of be going the whole time. So we'll be effectively having 2 stacked up at the same time. That's kind of what this stinger right here, that's showing you, okay, your melody's at 20 seconds full charge. Now you could switch to, cathartic or pensive.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
So so we have both the melody buffs are active right now. As you can see,
really nice.
Starting to wear off. So after 20 seconds in cathartic, cheerful's going to fall off, and then we'll have to weave back to that one or move to a different one. So that's a lot of different options.
So you're upkeeping. So as I see now, cheerful has fallen off. I can add the cheerful back.
Yep. So you kind of weave back and forth between 2 you want to use, or alternate to whatever the party's needing in the current time. So a lot of different ways to play it.
That's pretty cool. I like that gameplay. So that's essentially as the bard, you are very cognizant of kind of the situation that the party is in, and you have all of these different types of effects that you can confer. You're essentially
the number over here is a little weird. It like keeps going up and then going down.
Given time and able to swap in between these.
I feel like the visual
letting
clarity on the buff needs to be a little bit better in the UI, but it's fine.
Go to waste.
It's fine for right now.
That's very
Yeah,
cool.
that's what I do with that one.
Yeah,
We'll fix it later.
A classic, I feel like, in a lot of the even older MMOs. Some people love it, some people hate it. That's kind of why we have it as a spec option, so you can choose whether that's your style of gameplay or not. But we think it's cool, and I think we've taken it to another level that in some games in the past, at least I know, weaving has been kind of janky or clunky or even unintended. But I think we're leaning into it, and I think it's a better version.
Yeah, I agree. That's awesome. Okay, what do we got next, Bucky?
So
those are the melodies.
Different ability. This is a mobility ability called Flourish.
I love this.
Whoops.
Let me see if I can find something here real quick.
Oh no!
Spoiler.
Spoiler
Ooh.
alert!
That's funny.
I'm sorry. I must have the auto attack.
I wonder if he did this on purpose.
Enabled. Do you want that enabled, Bucky?
No, you can turn it off if you want.
Okay. Well, let me open up my game options and go to combat,
There it is, the third checkbox.
and I will uncheck.
So this is crazy. Auto attack enabled. So this is like literally the same League of Legends option where if an enemy comes within range, it just automatically starts attacking them with basic attacks. That is so crazy to me that's like an action or that's a setting in an MMO. Normally that's just weird. Also, right click to target self. Clear target by clicking on nothing. Low health vignette intensity. Like these are crazy options to look at, right? You have like critical damage taken. Like you can like choose the coloring, the size, like they are really showing here in the options the amount of versatility in the UI. That's really, really cool.
My auto attack. I apologize, everybody.
Russell, I'm getting something ready here.
Privileges are revoked.
Yes, you saw a preview of the spellbook.
I'm watching that guy like slowly get closer to us.
Little by little,
I
did
didn't
he know.
expect us to attack him.
Curious mushroom.
Now that would have been a good opportunity for me to use Flourish, actually, to get out of dodge, right?
Yep, you could have done that, yeah. But that's number 6. So this is just like a mobility ability. So similar to Blink in some ways. However, this has the added bonus that you can use it during any other ability.
This is so
like
sick.
With your melodies, you can cast them while you're doing other abilities. This Flourish you can cast during other abilities.
Use it while you're turning, Steven.
Yeah, and it lets you steer a little bit too.
So it's just a knee slide. Somebody was like, I fear for his knees. And this is immediately what I thought of.
Goes into the path of Moses! 2-1 Chelsea!
That's immediately what I thought of.
Move your character as it's.
Wait, what?
With
Move your character
right
while
mouse
you're
button.
dashing.
While
Like
I'm
spin.
dashing.
Yeah, spin.
I love how Steven was confused. That's so sick.
I
Cool.
love
It's
this.
so sick that you have the ability to
that's
change
awesome.
your
I love that
direction
ability.
mid-dash.
How cool is that?
So this
It's also
doesn't like really
lovely,
like I don't think there's any real gameplay mechanic that affects this because of tab target and like hybrid combat with soft locking. I think the only thing this hurts is legit action combat only without soft targets. So I think if that's the way that you're looking at this is like, oh, I want to play action combat. Well, if you want to avoid like, missing, then you should just do the soft target on action combat, which is a mouthful to say, by the way. Like that was so difficult for me. I don't know why.
The effects for this.
Yeah, it looks pretty exciting. But
I love it.
So it's a great ability, like, especially as you see later, the next group of abilities we're getting into are the dance abilities. And this move combos really well with those because
I was so
in a
hyped
position-
because I was thinking I wanted like storytelling and dancing and musical all to be like different representations of the bard And the fact that they brought in like dancing and storytelling into the abilities themselves as like their own little mechanic, bro, my mind went, I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
To do the dances. It also lets you, get out of dodge, like you were saying, or you can also use it to like slide through.
This one coming up is literally
it turns off your collision, so you can not get blocked or trapped different ways.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Now, obviously, guys, as I said before, I do have my cooldowns turned off for the purposes of demonstration here, but the cooldown here would normally be...
I think it's like a 15-second cooldown with 2 charges or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So it's a charged ability. Okay,
Yeah,
so that's
save
good.
it up and use it.
Okay, so you're talking a little bit about these dance abilities, and I am absolutely in love with the icons here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
They're pretty great.
Yeah, so this next category of abilities are dances, and so they're all kind of, in contrast to the large radius melodies, these are all a lot shorter range abilities, but with pretty powerful effects.
And the short range proximity, like this is the proximity that I was actually expecting to come out of the Bard. So when I had originally looked at the melodies, I'm like, ooh, those ranges are really long. I don't know about that. But then I saw these and I was like, okay, this is what I was expecting. This is what I wanted.
First one's called Shielding Dance, which heals everybody for a little bit over time. It also applies a heavy temp health shield. So this is a great one to use when people are about to die and the cleric needs some more time to heal. You can give everyone a shield.
Okay, so this applies a shield to everyone around me?
Yep.
Heal yourself and nearby allies for 50% of your magical power every second, and apply up to 1 instance of the shield to each target.
Here, let me see if I
If
can
you hold
do this.
shift, you can see the tooltip for a shield, which is, just some temp health.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. 400% of your healing power
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
for 15 seconds.
Just
Wow,
stretched
okay.
it
My
to the
healing
screen.
power we saw was like 40 or something.
Yeah. So it's a decent little chunk of health, or temp health, that is. But the downside of this one is that it's only a 5-meter range, so it's basically melee range.
You got to be in the
So
shits.
That's why you really need Flourish to,
See, that's perfect.
There you go.
Oh, my.
That's also a very strong temp heal. Another thing that's really cool here, I can zoom in on this, right? Right here is this little temp shield. I love the way that it looks on the health bar. It's very Path of Exile-esque for the temp health. Temp health. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Temp health is also equivalent to like a shield. I'm not sure like how shielding versus temp health is really explained, but it reminds me a lot of like what D&D is for like what temp health points are. I imagine just temp health is just another form of a shield. I think it's fine. You can also see that although it's the same, sorry, I did that on the wrong screen. Although it's the same amount of temp HP, it looks larger on the lower HP targets. So, you might be able to tell who has lower amounts of HP, 1, by their class, and 2, simply because the temp health bars look absolutely massive on the temp health because it's a percentage base. Maybe they changed that. I don't know. I mean, obviously these are on your party members. It's really, really good so far, Elamoto. But yeah, I don't know the best way to show temp health on the screen, but I definitely think that is a little weird mechanic to think about.
My God.
So
Tori, I love
Well, welcome
the
back.
sound of that. Holy smokes.
But yeah, this sound, this animation is amazing. I love the dancing animations and sounds.
Absolutely
They're
one of my
so
favorites from the whole
fantastic.
set.
The percussion.
Oh, I love
So
this.
like
I
the team is just mwah with the Bard so far. With like when it comes to visuals, when it comes to cooldowns, like when we were seeing the temp HP and the mana just being on a 3, 2, 1 pop, 3, 2, 1 pop, almost as if it was like a musical like tempo, like you're doing the 1, 2, 3 go, 1, 2, 3. Like it is purely musical and it is fitting in with the theme with the Bard, and everything is just, oh, it's so good. It's so good. And the percussions on the steps, on the actual ability that's being procced out. It's so good.
Well, I'm using this as well.
Yep, you can move while you're doing it, and you can also knee slide while
And
you're doing
you move, and you can knee slide while you do it. I like when he moves out, the shield actually also is removed. I want to see.
Specialization and song master.
Oh wait, hold on. I went way far back, didn't I?
Filtering other abilities. You can stun while you're down.
That's awesome.
It lets you get in, turns off.
Turned off, so it has
My bad.
range.
target.
But the down.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So with the longer cast duration, you might hit some close.
So it procs here. Those other guys are not hit. Actually, they are. Wait, what?
Thanks so much.
That is so good.
Hold
Absolutely
on.
one of my favorites. From
So
the set.
they're all shielded right now.
Oh, I
Dread's not.
love this. So now I can move while I'm using this as well.
Yep. You
So Dread's in the circle. Is it because he's flagged? It's probably because he's flagged.
can move while you're doing it.
I don't like that they're still being shielded, despite the visual clarity not being there anymore. I obviously still work in progress and stuff like that, but I think that's a good note to make.
And you can also knee slide while you're doing it. So with the longer cast duration, you might hit some close by people with initially, then you want to knee slide to another group of people to get it with the end. So it kind of, since it has a decent duration, you have some time to.
Yeah, I think the shield should stay either within their whether they are in proximity, and it goes away when they're not in proximity, or it should just show the shield for their temp HP for the entire duration. And if it is like what I think it's Dread or Bucky that's saying this, if you are going to move from group to group to group and like knee slide into a different group to shield them, yeah, I think it's fine as long as the visual effect stays where the visual effect is actually affecting
Apply the buff to as much
the
as people
person.
as possible.
Same thing with the musical note with the melodies. I think, yeah.
I just want to comment on the shield application as well. Like how it materializes is just awesome.
That is so good. Siva did such a great job with this. Holy smokes,
I love it.
I love that.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
And then the little lights above you, little sigil notes.
Oh yeah, that's another thing
Such a
to
great
look
job
at.
with this. Holy smokes,
That I
love
had
that.
some feedback on. So it has like 1, 2, 3. I love the one spotlight, but I think these other ones on the side are actually just hurting performance and not necessary. I love the middle one that is shining the light down on you. That's like, hey, look at me, I'm the bard. I am casting this ability. Obviously, there's a bunch of other things like these runic circles and stuff. It's quite obvious that Ashes of Creation and Intrepid plan that these circles on the ground are showing the visual clarity of the range of the spell, and they use these runic circles as a way to explain that. I love that this one is very tuned down from the clerics. I think it looks very, very clean. It looks very nice. So it gives a visual clarity on how large the ability is, who it's being affected by with the spotlight. All of that's great, and it doesn't look overtuned here.
Pretty great.
And then the little lights above you.
And you even get like the little song notes on that.
Hold on, let me put myself in walk mode just so I can see myself slow move on the dancing here. Hold on.
Boom.
Yeah, that's it.
The audio is perfect on the steps
Alex
too.
Did all the animations for this one, I think. Yeah.
Boom, boom. And it's like he's just pushing it out.
So great. I literally would just use that single ability the entire time. That's all I want to do with this. So hold on, let me give the cheerful melody while doing this. Oh, that's so great.
Oh, it adds.
That is super cool.
Well, some of them
It's a
stack.
cool one. It's a great one.
Interesting.
Oh yeah. Next one, Nimble Dance.
Let's see. Grants nimble and pep to yourself and nearby allies every second. What is pep?
Pep is a new thing.
It'll tell you what the.
Ooh, toggle advantage. Oh, okay. So, toggle advanced tooltips by holding shift. Gain 50% base evasion, lasts for 5 seconds. A momentary 20% movement speed boost, lasts for 5 seconds. Pretty good.
High base evasion buff. So just another form, of mitigation damage reduction. Hopefully people will dodge, right? And then Pep's short movement speed boost, which a couple of the different abilities around the Bard kit are giving. Kind of scared.
So if I have both.
So nimble is evasion, Pep is movement
well
speed.
As Nimble Dance playing.
It even says so in the tooltip, obviously.
Yep,
But
right
yeah.
now they stack, yeah, so it'll be an additive bonus of 40% movement speed, so yeah, you can get going pretty quick.
Oh, it stacks.
Put that up, and then this is me running.
Okay.
Actually, we should all run together. Let's run together when we do this. Let's start at this tree, and then we'll run the other way.
So,
Alrighty.
All right, ready?
Epic Melody is playing, then he goes into Nimble
Turn
Dance.
this off first. We'll see. We're gonna run to that bigger tree there. In the
Okay.
distance.
Okay.
It's gonna take about 10 seconds to drop.
Okay, hold on. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right.
Oh my goodness!
Doug is getting left in the dust.
That is so
Yeah.
good.
So Doug wasn't within the 5-meter range, therefore
Engagement
didn't get the
or,
speed buff.
getting out of a
It wasn't a
counter-gun.
crazy
3, 2, 1, go.
speed up, but it was significant. Oh no, he was in it.
Oh my goodness!
Why did he get... Maybe they're sprinting? I don't know, maybe there's a difference there.
That is so
Yeah.
good.
That's a great combo if you're trying to run away from like a PvP engagement or, getting out of a counter gone bad.
Oh,
But yeah, it's good.
who do we run into?
It's
over
very
here?
effective.
Mushroom.
And this is the thing, like, also that I'm thinking about, like, if you are out in the world and you are getting ganked as a bard and you don't have the capability to 1v1 people, or you don't have the ability to outdamage them or outheal them, and you are quite clearly weaker than the enemy, you still have agency that what the cleric does not have at the moment. You have agency to get out of these situations. You'll see with some spells that are coming up that you can like CC or anything like that, you are able to get engaged on and also disengage as like your own agency. This is what I had explained during the fighter showcase, where I was like, maybe the fighter has too much agency and the cleric has no agency whatsoever. This is what I'm speaking of. This is what's going to allow somebody the ability to get out of situations that they don't initially win, as long as they can have the foresight of being like, I don't win this fight immediately. I know exactly what I need to do to play in a way that will allow me to get out of this situation without dying. That's what I'm talking about.
Spawn.
Oh.
Same my sled from earlier.
Okay. Let me do this one again.
Yeah, I imagine there will be a like cap on a lot of these abilities.
I love
They just
those
haven't
animations.
been
That
implemented
kick
because
is
they're
so
in alpha
cool.
and they haven't been balancing or anything like that. So everything's gonna look
mocapped and then
imbalanced, but
Alex mocap by
that was huge. Also, they mocapped these dances.
I love those. Oh.
Same my sled from earlier.
Okay. Let me do this one again.
So
I
cool.
love those animations. That kick
And it's
is
just
so
on
cool.
beat every
it's really great.
time.
These animations actually started out mocapped, and then Alex mocapped by Matt, and then Alex did a great cleanup job and added some spins and stuff. So it turned out
That's
pretty
so
cool.
sick.
Let me just get this.
I love that they mocapped it.
Wow.
And you
that
can
looks
and they
so
change while they're running.
great.
I want to know what that menacing melody looks like
Yeah,
while he's
you
running.
need
The
to
one
get
where he's like
that.
headbanging,
Looks really cool.
or is that the
too.
cathartic one?
The jump kind of just seamlessly works with the split body.
The effects are great. Well done. So good.
You'll notice this one also has a lot of percussion as the main
Yes.
focus. All the dances are going to be, at least from the audio side, I wanted that to convey the feeling of motion and just the hits of each of the dance moves.
Oh, it sounds so great. You know what?
Also, I want to
I
know.
wanted that to convey the feeling of motion and
Right there, you can see like the kind of the ground, like you can tell it's still an alpha, right? Like, yeah, the ground looks like water here. It doesn't look like gravel,
just the hits
like what
of
it's
each of
supposed to be, and then it renders in. Yeah, so you can tell it's in alpha. There are going to be these things in alpha too, by the way.
the dance moves.
Oh, it sounds so great.
It is
You know,
not.
actually, let me
These areas are
try
not
something.
completely optimized.
Hold on
Rendering
real quick. I
isn't
just wanna-
always perfect.
I want
It's an alpha. These things will happen, okay?
Music real quick.
I also wouldn't be surprised if I saw some of this on some of the land at launch, you know? Oh, wow, he's turning it all the way up.
All right. And then let's see how it blends in with the audio.
I don't think music actually turned it up.
That sounds so
I think
good.
it's a sound effect.
Awesome.
I don't think it's the music.
Thanks, mana. Let me give myself some more mana. Yeah, it does sound really good.
I think Steven
Yeah,
did not quite hit that.
A lot of the Bard abilities because they have
so yeah, it's a sound effects. It's not music.
Much musicality to them. We have to make sure that they stay ambient enough that they don't mess with the overall feel of the music while also matching up in tonality and key for the musical ones. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but I think we're doing a pretty good job of combining it so it feels
again with this little note.
Tonality.
It like spirals right here, so you can still see the people that it affects, and it kind of like grows right here. Once again, I would like to see some sort of visual effect on the person that stays with them during the duration of the ability. It still seems to be going, so it seems to be doing exactly what I want it to do.
So it feels in world and in
so I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, after Nimble, what do we got?
Actually, hold on. Was it?
Stuff going on, but I think we're doing a pretty good job of combining it.
So it's actually still on them and the visual effect is not there. So maybe that is something that I want. Because it's only for the duration of the ability that effect actually is going. I would like it for the actual duration of like the actual buff as well.
So it feels in world and in place.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, after Nimble, what do we got? Mesmerizing Dance.
Ooh, this one's good.
This next one is an offensive CC type spell. So
offensive CC.
It's a little bit shorter cast than the rest, but it basically applies an incapacitate to all nearby.
I'm so hyped for like this type of ability in like an esports version of something. Like I would love to see this in like PvP tournaments where this dance is literally a clutch factor.
Targets.
Okay.
So we have to have some enemies.
I can try.
Dredicare, do you want to drop party maybe?
Sure. Yeah, it'd be good to have that for some of these offensive abilities coming up.
All right, you're gonna have to flag on me first. All right, now let me put you to sleep. Go to sleep. Oh wait, I have to flag.
Oh, are you
flag?
So that's also cool. Like the fact that you can use your ability on someone or something and it doesn't automatically, like if you're using like an AoE that's supposed to happen, even if they are purple or a combatant or whatever, you don't automatically do that to make yourself go purple. You have the option to flag if you want to flag or not. I think that's a really good design choice to do, and that is on a keybind, which they're struggling to figure out.
What's my flag? What did we change the hotkey to? I can't remember.
Is it
Control
Alt
F?
No,
Control
F.
Alt F, yeah.
Alt F.
All right, there we go. Okay.
There we go.
All right, here we go.
Go to sleep.
And go to sleep. Ooh,
Interrupt.
Nice.
So, that was cool. Wait, hold on.
Alt F, yeah.
All right, there we go. Okay.
There we go.
All right, here we go. And go to sleep.
So he's taunting right now. And it goes to an interrupt. That's kind of funny. So he's just like, doing like a little thing, like a little emote, and it actually says interrupt.
Ooh.
And I wonder if that is just the mesmerize or not. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Nice. That's awesome. That's a quick cast too.
Yeah, that one's a bit quicker because it just has just a sudden effect and it's not as much of a.
Okay, so also 1,
Ooh,
2.
Nice. That's awesome. That's a quick cast too.
Yeah, that one's a bit quicker because it just has just a sudden effect and it's not as much of a.
It's a 10-second CC.
Yeah.
You can also damage will break the CC, but it's a 10-second CC.
Nice to be able to knee slide in, flourish in, and get a stun off, flourish out,
Oh, I put him to sleep again. He's incapacitated. Oh, and now he has immunity.
Yep.
That's a nice.
So now he has immunity to
Diminishing
incapacitate.
returns.
Incapacitation for 10
Talk to us
seconds.
about this, Trad.
For a little while, our game was a bit unbalanced when it came to crowd control, so I figured it was time for a diminishing return system to be put in place. I won't go into like super detail about it, but the basic idea is we have created different like categories of CC. So you've got hard CC, you've got movement CC, you got activation CC, like silence and disarm, and each of those categories will tick up as the duration ticks. And once you've hit a max amount of duration of that CC category, it'll kick in a temporary immunity period. So we'll probably iterate on.
And I like this. This is a good way to do like status conditions that aren't visually taxing as well. Like his head is down, he's bobbing, he's kind of asleep. That's another way to do that without filling up the screen with clutter or having to look at these little buffs here at the top by his health bar.
This more just as we do with everything else, but we want.
I think that's another good way of doing things.
Just so that people can't like perma lock you down, because nobody likes that.
And just to give some clarity, obviously, to the audience, you have bucketized essentially the different types of control effects so that they don't all share the same diminishing return values, but rather each of these effects share with some other effect types, and they will communally grant some DR based on the effect type.
Yeah, I mean, real quick, the movement ones are snare, chill, root, and freeze. The hard ones are the one you're seeing here, incapacitate, which is breakable on damage, but there's also tier 2 versions of that, which is trip and stun, which do not break on damage. And then you have your activation CCs, which are silence and disarm, and potentially more in the future, but that's what we got right now.
Very
Quite a lot.
That is awesome. I know that.
But a lot of CCs, a lot of like slows, movement stopping, so like roots, snares, etc. Like you're still able to cast, you're still able to attack, but your movement is stopped. You have things that will completely take you out in like loss of character. I think taunt could be another one where like if you are taunted or like compelled, could be something that you could have like a loss of character on where it's a hard CC. You can also have taunt be something like a debuff to anybody outside of the person that like compels you, like or like I guess a compel would be like you being forced to attack the tank because he is compelling to duel you, and if you attack anybody else, then you have damage reduction against all other people. And then a taunt would be like you are focused on that character and you are only attacking them for a reduced damage amount, and you don't have control of your character for that time being. That would be a hard CC. And then you could have things like charmed, which is also a loss of character where your character is going towards the charmy or the charmed or the person that casts charm. And then there is frightened or like fear, where you are running away. It's the opposite of charm. So I think there's other hard CC loss of character movements that you could do, that you could implement. Of course, immunity to CC would need to be changed as you implement more versions of CC in. So it sounds like incapacitate right now is currently a 10-second immunity to that one thing. So if I get incapacitated and then somebody damages me and now I'm out, I can't get incapacitated for 10 seconds, but I could get I guess sleep would be a form of incapacitation, but I could get tripped or I could get stunned, and you could build these and chain CC these all the way until your incapacitation is back up and the ability is back up and somebody incapacitates you and continues to chain you. So I think it needs to be balanced around the amount of CCs and what types of CCs, or just a base amount. Like you can only get CC'd for 8 to 10 seconds before you are completely CC immune and you have free roamability for X amount of time. I think those are ways to combat that, but you always have to keep in mind how many CCs are there, what's the cooldowns of these immunities, and what are the cooldowns of the abilities. I think from a design perspective, it is awesome to see that way. It allows like people that have teamwork to synergize and chain CC while also giving the person that is getting CC'd the ability to outplay or at least move and not feel like I can't fucking move, like I think it's a good direction. I think these things need to be kept in mind in the future.
User experience standpoint, obviously, we were getting a lot of feedback from the tests that, hey, when is the system going to be in place? It's really feeling crappy in PvP and in the encounters to just consistently get tripped or snared or, whatever. And now you guys have implemented this, so well done. Very nice. That's definitely going to help.
I remember being rooted for like 30 seconds during that Node War live stream. Like, I'll get out of here one day.
My primary motivation was playing as a fighter in PvP and getting perma-rooted. I'm like, nope, we're changing this right now.
Gosh, that's so
perfect.
Okay, so mesmerizing dance, that's super useful, and that's obviously a short radius AoE effect with a 5-meter range there, but pretty significant considering that it's an instant cast. That's a pretty strong ability.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What do we got next? Maddening Dance.
So this one's just more of a general AoE damage ability that scales up if there's less targets. So if there's a lot of targets, it'll do 40% magical power, but if there's just a few, it'll do more. And it also has some interaction with status of the bard it can apply.
Okay, so I don't know if this helps or hurts Zerging. Because they were talking about if it does more. Hey, thank you for coming. Where's my activity? I don't have my activity thing up. I don't know who just followed me. Ah! Hold on one second. I'm gonna fix this. Hey, nice. Hey, welcome. Nice of you to follow me. I appreciate it.
Which is demoralized, and it'll promote that to humiliated, which...
Here, let me give you a shout out real quick.
Okay, so this is cool. This is kind of like
I think it's
a decision to make here, obviously. If you're using it as a solo player, solo bard, you're going to have a greater damage efficacy against single targets or something, but if
there we go.
You're, like pulling large,
everybody go follow Nice if you haven't already.
It's going to automatically...
Hey, is there no one else? Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming. And you made 11 people come. I appreciate it. And Nice rating and made 39 people come. Thank you guys. Thank you both.
Okay.
Wow.
How'd your guys' stream go? Did you finish watching all this?
He's got...
Yeah.
So we're doing about 17.
Hey, Fupo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's pretty
Fup,
good.
what's up?
Pretty significant. Very cool.
Just let the
what's up, guys?
And get some AoE in as well.
I also love the screen effects that are applied.
Viral, thank you for coming. Dr. Poopy Pants, thank you for coming. I like your name.
Yeah, I think the internal of the effect has some distorts going on, something like that. I don't know. Looks
Glad you guys are all enjoying. How'd you guys enjoy the Bard?
I like how discontorted the
So far, we're on the dances.
Yeah, exactly. Going for some sort of like.
I love. So far, there's been so many good things and like good topics that I've been talking about so far. So, just brief TLDR for everybody. Love that the Bard is actually making the sounds of like tempos, and they're keeping in track with like the musical theme. So like when you're doing the hype train, let's go. 20 community subs, Arctic Elysium. Thank you so much. That's huge.
Who the fuck took the shit?
W indeed. W in chat. Arctic Elysium, Euro P. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I love this community so much, but yeah, I love the fact that they are keeping the tempo type of thing for the Bard. Like when they're doing the cheerful melody, it's like a 3, 2, 1 pop, 3, 2, 1 pop. It's like on tempo, it's on beat for like Bard stuff. Thank you for the follow, Bubg. Bob G. I said Bub G like it was like PUBG. Weird. But yeah, no, they are making sure that each beat of the animations and the audio is all hitting. I am big fans of this. We talked briefly about the diminishing returns and how the fact that like if you're incapacitated, then you will only get incapacitated CC immunity once that's done, but you could still get CC chained after that. So if you're thinking about like CC chains and using skill expression with like synergies and stuff like that, I think Intrepid needs to be aware of what cooldowns are there, how many CCs there are, and you could still technically keep CC chaining somebody forever as long as like you have enough different CCs. So I think they need to keep that in mind with adding on new types of CCs, as well as also, you know, diminishing returns for being CC'd and just being like, I can't move. So I think these are all good things to think about as we look at these types of things.
Rich thing, right?
I love it. We should get some weird tentacles flying out of them.
That'd be cool.
That's super cool. Okay, cool. That's those are our dances. Are those all the dances?
Yep, those are all the dances right now.
Oh boy,
There's
another
also
gifted sub
There's also a dance
to Nice. Thank you,
mastery
Arctic.
passive as well, but it's still getting some iterations, so we can show that one off later.
Okay.
Like we said, we're not, you know, this isn't the entire kit. There's a couple abilities in here we're not going to be showing off today, but you know, for the most part.
Yeah, because like if you think about it, he mentioned there's chills, there's trip, stun, incapacitate, there's other types of like hard CCs that you could do, like fears, charms, taunts, all these things. So if you have enough CCs, you could technically CC somebody forever, even with the diminishing returns that they currently have in place. I think they just need to keep it in mind as they go forward.
We got most of it here.
Cool. All right. What do we got next?
Next up is a knockback ability.
R.I.P.
It's called Get Off the Stage.
Get off.
So you see next on your bar.
I love this part.
After the dances,
Oh,
yeah.
there
So
we
this
go.
is just like a short range melee knockback.
Let's see.
Which applies snared and also has some interaction with staggered. It'll disarm your targets if they're staggered. So
Okay, so knock back enemies in front of you with your instrument, dealing 175% of your.
I'm not allowed to gift him a
magical
sub
damage
either. Feels bad, dude.
Damage? Physical damage.
I was about to
it
gift
doesn't
him a
hurt
sub.
Your magical damage has bludgeon damage. So
Oh, okay, got it.
kind of, yeah.
And applies 3 stacks of snared that taper off over the course of 6 seconds. Also applies disarm to the target with staggered.
So I love this. It's a knockback and also snares. I remember Steven saying that he wished it knocked back further. I also
Nice
agree.
combo. For the
Yeah.
tank.
I also think there should be like a knockback that like
Exactly.
is a
yeah.
ranged
melee's up
knockback
on you
as
and
well.
You're able to stagger them. You can just knock them back with Get Off the Stage, snare them, and then they will get disarmed as well if you have them staggered.
Else is
All right,
throwing.
so
True,
Who's
true.
this on you? Want a flag on me?
I think you guys are still
I
flagged.
think I'm flagged, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he is snared. He got knocked back like
Nice.
a meter.
That's cool. What did I use there? Was that like a fiddle?
So yeah, I'm pretty
I love that he just
It was
beats
your,
the shit out of him with the
That's
flute.
right, I
Like a
chose
little
the flute.
Yeah.
You see his health drop there. I do like that. Like the 25th percentile it drops. I thought I hated it at first. I kind of ended up liking it. I'll see further when I actually get gameplay and am able to test it out. I like it in theory. We'll see how it actually
Right.
feels.
Cranked up the knock a little bit. Like it's pretty small right now.
Oh, thank you
but,
for coming
still high
and
on some
dropping
of
those subs, and
Yeah,
I hope
yeah,
you
crank that
have a
thing.
good time eating.
Well, what is that set to? Like a meter?
I appreciate you.
Yeah, I think it's not set too high, but yeah, like tried saying, we're still
Yeah.
or knockback.
Level 4
in-
hype
in
train. I think
pulses,
that's the highest I've
that's
ever
all,
gotten, by the
for
way.
Pushes and pull. Please don't.
That's
kill me.
crazy.
Wow.
Just beat his ass to death with the flute.
Oh,
Oh no!
You
Right.
jerk.
Please don't kill me, Steven.
How'd you
What a
die?
flex. Just comes in, drops 20 subs, and just like, alright, later.
He's dead. Look what you've done.
Very pog champ.
Now I'm not even red. This is your character, Bucky.
Oh man.
Steven made Bucky go corrupt. So corruption system's working. It's in effect. Corruption exists.
So pushes and pulls. We
And you quite literally go red after one kill.
And they
So that's one thing
use
that's
a special kind of
there.
stuff that we're still kind of working on. That will make them a little more reliable, but there'll be some changes to this kind of stuff, like knockbacks.
I would set. I would push them.
Red versus blue, yes.
Yeah.
The oddball.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that's cool. That looks great.
I love it. I love it.
Disarm if you have a stagger source.
Oh yeah, somebody
We
said.
I wonder what
could,
disarm
We can maybe
is.
come back to these once we get to.
Like, can you just like not attack?
Oh,
Is it a
God.
weapon attack thing? Can you not attack? Is it like a silence?
Dance.
All right, which one is that? Quick
So
wit?
this next one's quick wit. This
That'd be
is actually a
interesting.
starting ability as a bard.
This was so cool. I love the
it's
finger gun.
It's a dual function ability that changes depending on whether your target's
And
allied or enemy.
tomato.
So the default, if you're targeting a friend, is you'll give them, well, Trad's not a friend, but if you target like me on your guy, it'll give me.
You mean target me?
Target Steven.
Target me.
Target
Other
me.
me.
Other me. Oh yeah, for those of you who don't know, Bucky and I are going to be switching. Obviously, Bucker.
Disarm is when you cut off their arms. Oh, you're so right, Fupo.
Buckaroo. Bucky being the master of the bard.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought too, Tilly. I think silence is the ability canceling, and then disarm would be not being able to attack with weapons.
Okay,
But
so I'm targeting
You
me.
could quite literally disarm them, and it'd just be a quick little flesh wound, like Fupo is
which
explaining.
is a heal over time that lasts for a while.
Oh, let's see that. Glee. You are
120%. Is this a single target? With a huge HOT, healing over time.
And then it says
Ridicule target,
so for an enemy,
damaging them for
damage
100%,
apply
bludgeon,
demoralize, which is
and apply
multiplier
demoralize.
reduced by 10%. Damage multiplier reduced by 10% for 8 seconds. Duration can be extended for up to 20 seconds by subsequent applications. That's cool.
Yeah, so
So it's a max 20 seconds.
We've seen this before with like the cleric having judgment and some different abilities here and there. So it kind of swaps depending on the context.
Oh.
Yeah, Glee is just like kind of a very light healing. Like if you compare it to the clerics, for example, the clerics heal over time heals a lot more, but this one's kind of just some more nice light healing.
Okay, so cleric is still healing more.
And,
Okay,
Yep.
that's cool. And then now we should try the other effect.
yes, and as you can see, the icon changed. You can guess what it's going to be.
Oh, that's cool.
I love this ability.
So as I target friendly,
I love it's
you
the
can
first
see
ability
your
for the
friendly
bard too.
icon. Okay, so we got some UI support finally coming in here. And then we also have now a tomato, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me a little bit about the concept for the tomato.
Oh man, this is something Natalie was just instantly like, oh, we got to do a tomato toss somewhere
perfect.
in this kit. You know, it was so good.
I almost wonder if it's too big, but
Especially
it's
when you're
awesome.
talking about what the effect would be called, like, you know, what else would demoralize you by getting some tomatoes thrown in your face?
I want to see like a
Stephen coughing.
status interaction, so you just like fall on your butt when you
Beats him with a flute, throws a tomato at him.
So this, the status, the one that interacts with the knockback on the get off the stage is actually from a different ability. But this would, you can be promoted this through Maddening Dance. So if you use Maddening Dance after you throw a tomato at them, it'll promote their demoralize to a humiliate.
Which
That was the
one. Oh,
V.
that one says here. Okay.
So if you're short range and then you get within, and now they're humiliated.
Yeah.
Damage dealt reduced by 30%. So it actually went from 10% to 30%, and it lasts for 8 seconds. That's pretty
That
good.
means
Pretty good, pretty good.
As the demoralized target, if it doesn't focus their abilities or effects on me,
So
then
this,
it's reducing
the
outgoing
bard
damage.
itself so far is buff its own team. You have to get in close range to do a lot of negative effects. I think the only negative effect so far would be menacing melody, that you can do from like 30-meter range. But everything else for like any sort of like offensive ability, you have to do it from a very short range, which I think is really, really good design wise, because it puts the bard, who is a technically a support class, in danger if they want to, you know, do things that's not necessarily safe.
By 30%.
So I think that's good.
That's right. Yeah. So this is a shared status where
Any
also
negative
some
effect,
spots
they have to be in
tank as well.
danger.
Trying to experiment with making ways for, you know, no more classical abilities like taunt and stuff to still have a use in PvP, right? Where, you know, players don't have threat. Taunt wouldn't do
Yeah,
anything
it's a
to players under normal
huge damage
circumstances,
nerf, but they also
you
have to be
these
within
interactions,
range.
And it'll still have a
So,
great
I
use
mean,
in PvP as well.
That's cool.
I think
liking these
in-
interactions. That's very cool.
Yeah.
in conjunction
There's
with
interactions where
like
things are-
mesmerizing
might
dance,
change
where
here
you
and
get
there.
in there and you do the
We're still working on
incapacitate,
as well. I think that
and
could
then
have a
you
really
can
good
damage
place on the
reduction
Maddening
them.
Dance, 'cause it
I think that's good
thematically fits as well.
because you can get
Um,
in, get out,
For now,
and
it's
also
a pretty good
their
combo.
That's super cool. And by the
damage
way,
will be
guys, as you're
massively
kind of watching
reduced
this,
as you're trying to run
demonstration,
away.
Obviously, you're gonna see some bugs here or there.
That's another thing that I was mentioning earlier, is that like the bard has a lot of agency that like the cleric doesn't have. I think the cleric needs to be updated for more agency in their kit. Like the bard can immediately look at an enemy and be like, I don't win this fight, but they have the enough agency to get out. And that was something that I had brought up during the fighter showcase, is that the fighter has so much agency, and that a lot of these other classes don't have that much agency. I'm really glad that they are really sticking to that. They are sticking to reaction-based combat. It is very, very reassuring. I think tank and cleric may need to be looked at again as they have been developing this strategy, and just kind of make sure that they go back to these kits and be like, all right, we should probably balance these kits around these other archetypes that we have been promoting other principles for some time.
One of the bugs that we have currently, that we're currently working on, is some of our nameplates and targeting plates.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that as well overall.
Hit point updates. That's something that we're actively working on right now. Okay, so quick wit, super cool, love it. What's next?
Next up is on the next bar. So this next group of abilities are called the songs. And
The
so these
songs.
are single target abilities that are.
So
also
we've got
channeled,
melodies,
but have
dances,
a variety of
and now
effects as well.
songs.
So this first one here is called Lovely Serenade, and that's kind of just like a heal over time.
Yeah,
but also
absolutely.
plays Glee.
Let me.
No, I think the fighter is supposed to chase you down. Absolutely, I think they are supposed to be able to go in, kind of leech up some like lifesteal and keep chasing you down, and be these people that are constantly getting in your face, and they are supposed to do that. What I'm saying is, like, the cleric has 19 ways to heal, and their only mobility option so far is to dash to an ally, which is really cool. But if you don't have an ally, you don't have agency to get away. You don't have ways to move out of a fighter. The fighter can just keep staying on top of you with exert, heroic leap. He has the dash, the lunging strike. They have other options that allow them to stun or slow as they chase you down. And the cleric just has to accept that their life is over if they ever are in open world PvP and there's a fighter there. Meanwhile, like, the mage can like try to sleep, blink away. There's things like the ranger that has bear trap. They can disengage. They have camouflage to try to hide themselves afterwards. There's classes that have agency, and then the cleric just clearly does not. Tank may be able to stun and run away and just like damage mitigate themselves out of a sticky situation, or they may be able to just like straight up 1v1. That's all I'm saying, is that they have enough agency to realize that they have a losing matchup and be able to get away from the situation. I'm not saying that they have to win the situation, but they have to be able to move in a way that they can get out and they're not just completely screwed. You know what I mean?
Let me damage you a little bit.
Yeah, we can nuke. Or actually, if you want to heal a friendly, we could use somebody else. Maybe you could heal Brian. Or I'll nuke Brian a little bit so you can heal him up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go.
Damn, down to 30 HP. Plus 51 is a pretty big heal.
Oh, how cool is that?
It's obviously not like enough to be impactful. Like, this is where the cleric really comes in as like a party member for healing, but it is still pretty substantial.
We're doing it. We're
Yes,
healing.
yeah.
With melee, they need
Combo, of course,
survivability.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Increased healing received.
Yeah.
Your target.
Very cool. I like the duality.
I'm really tempted to see what
Designs,
level
right?
Steven
Obviously,
is, because I didn't
the
check that
cleric
when I
is
was
the bread and
first
butter
watching the
healing,
stream,
but
because he has more health than the fighter does as a mage.
Bard.
So that's pretty interesting to me.
To kind of secondary.
Everybody here is level 10.
skill effects.
I wonder if Steven
also
is
powering the cleric, I
also
think, is
level
a
10
very
or
healthy
much
complement
higher
to
like he
party
was in the Node Wars stream.
Yeah, we want to give bards a lot of ways to, obviously as our premier support archetype, we want to give them a lot of ways to support all the other archetypes. So they can spec more for a healing support way or a damage support way, or, maybe going more for a CC oriented play style. So there's a lot of different options on how you can bring value to the team.
Love it. Okay, I think the next one is probably one of my favorite visual effects designs.
This is really cool.
Yeah, this one turned out great. This is a single target attack speed / cast speed bonus. So
This will help your DPS increase
really speed
their
up
DPS.
power with this one.
You think he's 30? Level 30 in this one?
give it to-
Damn. Because I noticed the ranger and the cleric have like the lowest health pools right now. I love the clock visual. I love that it shows on the person receiving the buff.
Speed and attack speed.
Yeah.
And
This may be the only one so far that I've been like, where the visual effect doesn't need to linger. I don't think it needs to linger on this one, but with like the hots, the mana regen, what? I guess mana overtime is mots. I guess that's a new thing now. With the hots, the mots, and the dots, I think they should have a visual indicator on the person so that you can visually see and you don't have to look at this like debuff bar up here. I think that's really annoying to do. I would like to visually see, but this attack speed visual effect, I don't think needs one. If it does, maybe you just have a clock on the hand that's attacking and it's just very, very small. Just some sort of like visual indicator is usually what I like to see when it comes to these things, but not like overbearing.
Significant.
Most of the songs have a bit of a longer cooldown. I think they're about at 30-second range.
I mean, you can kind of see with his attacks, they've they've sped up, DPS so like it's not necessary for the spell exactly, but like that's stuff that I like to see.
Here, Dread, you can have some too.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I think since you're fly against him, you're not going to be able to use friendly abilities on him.
My bad, Trad.
No friendly abilities on enemies. Got it. Heard.
I'm a cleric.
Yes, chef.
I love that, and the sound there is awesome.
Gosh,
too.
it's beautiful.
I'm loving the. It almost reminds me of one of my like grandparents' clocks.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going for.
He's like, yep.
Mechanical noises. Yeah, it sounds really cool.
You're right on the nose with that one. Ooh, what was that? Wait, hold on.
Clocks.
Anybody know what that ability is?
Yeah,
a lot of
mechanical noises. Yeah, it sounds really cool.
Yeah.
What is that?
Incorporated
What? That's a tank thing.
a lot of classic clock sounds. So
anybody remember what that tank ability
you
is?
also notice that all these songs have
I love that shield.
Harp backing them, and we put that in there to simulate. Yeah, incorporated a lot of
hold on
clock sounds, so they're pretty sweet. You'll also notice that all these songs have some harp
He kicked him. The little dwarf kick.
backing them, and we put that in there to
That shit was so funny.
Almost like singing, because they're songs. The idea is your character would be singing, but we don't actually want singing because that would be a chaotic.
Tank has been updated?
So you'll hear
yeah, I guess.
harp sounds, which convey the melody of the actual song that you would be singing.
Love it.
Yeah, I think it turns.
Because I mean, like, yeah, we didn't see Tank Wall, but we saw it in Node Wars, right? So like, maybe they are implementing changes on like Cleric and Tank and these other class kits. So maybe my agency take doesn't have any weight anymore. Like maybe they've already been implementing this stuff like in the back end, and we just haven't been able to see it yet. So that is a possibility that has happened.
That's super cool. Steve,
God, I love it.
Job with these effects.
Yeah, he killed it.
I love being able to see these different like tank abilities and stuff as well throughout the stream.
Anthem. What do we got next?
Alacrity. Next up, so these are two offensive single target songs, so you can use it on Tread.
Tank Stash goes to a target though.
It's called the Chilling Lament, and this.
But
is
like
just,
also,
taking
I think
damage,
Tank has
and also
counter playability to like a fighter or like a ranger too.
And has interaction. If they're already frozen, it'll just deal bonus.
I'm mostly concerned about Cleric.
So
That's about it.
You know, with the mage, you know, you can kind of combo some of the stuff with the mage, right?
All right.
And maybe they just make Cleric so OP that they have no mobility and they're just artillery healing.
That's pretty cool.
That could be a thing.
The chilled effect.
Where they just make healing so strong that you just can't get out of like a group scenario.
Iterating a lot of stats.
You just have to position yourself very well.
So far, looking really good.
It's very possible.
Yeah, that's
what
awesome.
instrument is that?
That is a harp.
Really? They're just sprinting through the air. I'll have to watch it as we go through. I'm sure he'll use it.
Haunting tonality to it, which works really well, especially with these attacking abilities.
The rest of the party is there to support the cleric. Pretty much, yeah. I think your cleric is probably your most important member in the party.
Another one of my favorite visual effects as well.
Yeah, so this
Dark Lullaby.
Dark Lullaby, and this will deal spirit damage, which is kind of a new damage type we were adding, especially once we get to the summoner too. It might do more spirit damage type.
Summoner does spirit damage. Heard.
But this is a scaling damage, so it scales up in power, and it also notably won't wake up incapacitated targets. So normally incapacitated targets will break out upon damage, but this one will not wake them up. And if the final hit hits them while they're still incapacitated, they become stunned. So it's kind
like
of
I watched the stream, but there's a lot of things that I missed, like this spirit damage, lullaby not waking them up out. I wonder if it's all spirit damage or if it's just this ability's damage that does that. Interesting.
For things that are already sleeping.
Because imagine using the mesmerizing dance and then a summoner does their spirit damaging attack.
Correct.
And it doesn't wake them up from incapacitation. That's another thing that you could do that synergizes with another archetype.
Got it. And now?
Ooh, that song is so good.
Now normally that would have broken.
And that stun.
That specific ability has that interaction.
Yeah.
So what does it do? It deals 50 to 100% magic spirit damage to target enemy each second. Scales in power over the course of the cast. This damage will not wake an incapacitated target. The final hit applies stunned for 6 seconds. So not only are they incapacitated, but at the very end, while doing damage, it will stun them afterwards. And if they're stunned, you can still attack them and the damage will not break after the stun. Interesting. Okay.
But now I'm immune.
That is a very, very strong combo. I do one ability that I haven't seen that I would like to see on the Bard is like disengage abilities. I would like to see this with cleric as well. I would love to have a class that can stop engage from happening. So if you have like some sort of zone, I guess ranger, the bear trap is one of these like zoning abilities or disengage abilities. Anything that will allow you to create space while also kiting back, I think would be cool abilities to implement into the game. I haven't seen it much, but there are some. And some of these could be like knockbacks, like the flute one, but like at a range where it like kind of like explodes. I think knockbacks would be really, really cool. I definitely think like zonal type abilities are also another way to use like disengage and also use it for engage in certain situations. I think allowing these types of abilities to happen are stuff that I would like to see.
Yeah.
They definitely gave Bard a movement speed skill. There's two. There's the Nimble Dance, and then there's the Epic Melody. The Epic Melody will give you 20%. I think Nimble Dance will also give you like 20% for a stacking amount of 40% movement speed.
And apply stagger to all of them?
Yeah, and Epic Melody and both Nimble Dance are AoE for your teammates.
Spells. And obviously the staggered interactions.
Epic Melody is 30 meters and Nimble Dance is 5 meters.
The get off the stage ability had
two teammates, to people in your party.
So
yeah.
It would combo well with that and any other things.
So that's also another thing to note. A lot of these abilities are people that are in your party, not just people within a range. So they have to be in a party with you, and it's not going to apply to people out in the open world that you randomly see. To my understanding, could change, work in progress type stuff. But from what I've read in tooltips and basically based on what I've seen, that's kind of how it's being implemented.
That was one of the things we were trying to... I love the little note sounds.
They're so good.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with this one.
They're very responsive.
Too, right? Yeah. So there's an entire octave that it's choosing between. So there's all 12 notes in there.
So discordance. Oh man, I missed it.
I had a lot of fun with this one.
Launch a burst of 3 discordant notes at your target, each dealing 75% arcane damage and applying staggered. The notes will bounce randomly to nearby targets, doing reduced damage.
Responsive.
That's pretty good.
So
so if there's multiple targets, they would bounce.
So there's all 12 notes in there.
And there's all 12 different notes of the octaves
really
that it's going to hit.
Especially if you have like 3 or more enemies around you and all the notes are bouncing in between them, it becomes a full discordant mess living up to its name.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We'll see.
I'll make sure to demo that.
Because you see like a treble, you see like a 16th note. I saw a sharp in there.
I do love
Interesting.
It sounds really good. I like the the staggered impact. Also, it feels very responsive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this one will combo with the get off the stage. So if they're staggered when you hit them with get off the stage, they'll get disarmed.
Yeah.
The last.
So it seems like they are really following like this arcane, like you have magic damage and you have physical damage, but the differences in damage and the magic damage types vary so much. So there's like ice, arcane, there's spirit, there's fire, there's lightning, there's all these different elements, and you can only build so many resistances. So yeah, that's, I guess if you're expecting to go against a bard and be like, well, they only have these types, but then they also have a mage that has these types, what resistances do I build into? Like, it can get really convoluted really fast.
Just building on the last row, one back from the last row, the weapon hit one.
Yeah, exactly. And spirit damage with summoners and whatever other
so that has
types of abilities and magical damages that they decide to implement into the game. And arcane is another basic magic damage type. Meanwhile, physical has just bludgeon, piercing, and slashing damage.
Oh, very cool.
So that's interesting.
It adds to the anti like melee on you, right? You can.
But I suppose you could add like a magical enchantment to do magical damage types. So you could do like you could even do like poison damage. You could do like fire damage with like a fire enchant. I guess there's these things that you could also do. He showed the disarm. Oh shit, I missed.
Staggered, they'll get disarmed. So that's a good combo to discordance them, then hit them over the head.
Oh yeah.
Staggered.
Nice.
Disarmed. Oh, so he literally dropped the mace.
That's a good combo to discordance them, then hit them over the head.
Oh yeah. Nice. Okay.
I'm trying to attack.
I thought he dropped the mace. Maybe not. But you could like see the animation that he got like knocked back and disarmed.
Very
But
cool.
kind of adds to the anti like melee on you, right? You can disarm them and knock them back and snare them a little bit. Yeah. Run away.
That's awesome.
Yeah, eventually a little.
Yeah, they have scribe.
Eventually, is it actually makes
scribe? I believe is
go away from your hand.
tied to magical runes and weapon
Alright,
enchanting.
Cool. That is Discord.
So he's trying to attack him. It was maybe 4 seconds. Sounds about
This
right.
one
Sounds good.
is an interesting one. I'm going to nuke Brian. You have a target to use it on. The way this ability works is you will swap health with the target.
Ooh.
So
Swapping health with the target.
if Brian is low health,
Obviously, you probably can't do that against enemies.
And you can use it vice versa, and you can only use it on party members. So it's very
Only on party members.
because it'll put somebody at low health, but it can sometimes mean the difference between life and death. If your tank's really low, you can gambit, give some of your health to him, and save his life. It also applies a healing receive bonus to the target that lost life. So kind of,
Okay, hold on.
if your
He
tank's
had
really low,
564, and Brian had
you can
141.
gambit, give some of your health to him, and save his life. It also
Oh, he literally just swapped. So it's not based off of percentage. It's literally just swapping the amount of HP. So this would be insane. If you build a HP based bard and then you basically just play around your gambit. That's pretty crazy to me. I love it. I love it. I love it. Here, I'm going to let this play, but I really need a pee, so I'll be right back.
Life, so
I've been holding it in for a minute.
if you lose a bunch of life, you can gain some back. As you can see, it took a lot of your total percent HP to give it. Brian has more health than you, so you're not actually not gaining health in the process. So it's not like so you kind of very punishing for you, but it helps Brian a little bit or decently.
Wow, that is a very strong ability.
This one has a longer cooldown. I think it's a minute or something like that. You can use it super often.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
Its strength is part of why we gave it such a bright visual effect, because if a bard uses this, the bard's low on health, so which targets blow them up.
Yeah, I was gonna
That,
say.
or their target's low on health.
Yep.
Right, depending on the type of bard they are.
Gambit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we know what bards are
Talk
trolls,
about
so.
a troll ability.
Yeah, well, it's party locked at least, so your bard keeps.
Some
murdering
bards
you.
are going to be known as the gambit bards.
They're like the risky plays,
I love the effect there. That's super cool.
Yeah, those cards looked great.
That's awesome. That looks very cool. Very nice. Okay, what do we got next?
All right, so we're on to the last couple abilities here. So these next two abilities are what we're calling stories. And so these are simple party-wide buffs that go out that last for 30 seconds. And they provide you with a theme that you can use to cast a more powerful ability called a Saga. So if you use, let's see, your cooldowns are off, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the first one there is Conflict. So this will give everyone just a physical power bonus multiplier to your whole party for 30 seconds.
Ooh, this is the storytelling one.
Yep.
And so that's
Conflict.
Power bonus multiplier.
Nearby party members gain conflict, increase physical power by 10%, lasts 30 seconds. Huge, 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 huge. So there is one ability that decreases the enemy's power by 30%, and then this one increases your party's by 30%. And they seem to be separate. I don't think they're like unique skills. It also generates a tragedy stack, so that's pretty cool.
To your whole party for 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. Very
I wonder how that works in raids. If you have a 40-man raid party, does it affect all 40 members? That's a lot. Maybe they need to cap it at 8 people. Maybe because maybe raids are done in like groups, so you have like 5 groups of 8. So maybe it's stuck in your one portion of your raid group. Maybe that's one way that you can limit it. I'm just trying to make things like strong but not OP.
So that's a short-term buff that lasts 30 seconds.
Yep. And it also
short-term buff that lasts 30 seconds.
Top left on your character.
I don't think 30 seconds is short-term.
A little boost, and also you can spend 3 of these themes to cast this powerful ability called a Saga that has
30 seconds is a long time in PvP.
You can use a combination of conflict or chaos.
It also doesn't use that much mana.
Chaos does magical crit, and these abilities normally have a 30-second cooldown, so you can only have one story active for now at a time.
I see. Okay, so I can apply this every 30 seconds, and it keeps a record on myself of the last used.
Oh yeah, bards are necessary for parties, 100%.
Yeah,
and so, does that story composition change ever unless I cast?
They're also really cool. Like they're fun to play. They seem very skill expressive as well.
Right now we're only showing the stories that grant the tragedy theme, but there's 4 other stories that grant both the comedy theme and the mystery theme, which will change your...
So this is another cool thing. They seem to be centering a lot of things by like 4s, like augments are like 4 different types that you can implement as like your secondary archetype augments. They have 4 types for your playstyle for the bard. I think these are really, really cool that you have these different types of playstyles. Also, thank you for coming, DeathCon. I appreciate it. Yeah, so it seems like these different tragedy or these different stories that you can do are ways that you can have like an ultimate ability that you can spec into, and they'll probably each have their own different little playstyle that you can do. Tragedy being DPS.
Yeah, so you can see the other ones on to the right. Those grant that different themes that have different bonuses. So mystery will give you, I think, increased mana regen, and the comedy theme gives you increased healing.
Comedy is increased healing.
The combo of these 3, it'll allow you to cast a specific Saga ability.
My second time, but like I'm picking up things that I didn't normally pick up on the very first watch, because there's things that I was reacting to just in the moment, and I was like, holy shit. But now I get a time to like look at it, think about it more clearly and in depth.
So far, but the 3 tragedy one is called the Apocalypse.
Apocalypse.
So this is
I tried typing in APOC callback in chat, but apparently you can't type APOC in chat because they've banned that word. So that I thought that was kind of funny. You can also see there's a melancholy tragedy as well. So there's like the sad one, the Silent Pantheon, and then there's the Myth of Creation, which is all 3 of these things. which obviously is a play on Resna, the god, or I think Resna is the goddess of creation. Maybe the goddess of creation is different. No, Resna is hope. I don't remember who creation is, if they've even said so. But like, these are all playing a different story of these major events that have happened in lore. So you see the Silent Pantheon, the Return to Vera, and the Apocalypse are all alluding to a specific story in the history of the creation of Vera and where they're at. So I think that's really, really cool that they've done, that they are implementing lore into the class itself. Very, very nice.
Picks this fabled event. Enemies in front of you will be hit for 150% fire damage, burning and afflicted with shaken.
Yeah, oof indeed.
Will be left behind, dealing 30% fire damage each second.
They are scarred from the word APOC.
Yeah, so since this has such a long charge up time and cooldown because of that,
I also tried Apocalypse and that was also moderatedly denied.
Okay, let me light this forest on fire.
Oh yeah, make sure Trad's gonna be hurt.
Kids, don't do this at home.
Holy shit, wait.
What is that?
I actually had a level 5 hype train.
Phrase that they
Dude,
use,
Arctic is amazing.
Forest fires? I can't remember.
Stop, drop, and roll.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Only you can prevent. Oh my!
That's so sick. I actually like that. I think it burns in the image of So in the tank shout, we saw it burned the image of a phoenix. I think this also burns in the image of a phoenix, by the way. That's what it looks like to me. Like, it looks like a conal burn originally, but I think it's the phoenix logo. So they're implementing a lot of the essence type magic looking like that. So that's pretty cool, in my opinion.
Oh, that looks so awesome.
I actually like this version more so than the pop-up storybook version that they were gonna do, where it is the castle and the dragon and telling the story that way. I actually think this one looks better than what they had showed later on in the stream that we will probably see here shortly. But so that's just my opinion.
Tragedies.
That's correct. Yeah. So you'll have to.
I love those floating pages.
Minute or two to get them back up for your next saga.
Boom. Okay, so it's actually not in the shape of the phoenix. It is straight up just a cone.
Siva. Holy
we saw it from that angle. Okay.
It turned out awesome.
How cool would it have been, though? It's not practical, but that's cool.
It's a huge area.
Yeah, that is so great.
It's awesome.
So I mean that takes a lot of setup though, because as you said, the cooldown on these
bards are not soft.
Stories are 30.
Nerf bard. Yeah. That is sick as fuck. Looks 200% more mage than mage itself.
Yeah, exactly. It's also pretty mana intensive as well. That's about it though. If you're spamming this on cooldown, you'll go in pretty quick.
Black Sabbath 4242. He says, cool story, wins alpha MF2. He told you before this started. October, dude. It's October. Trust.
So good. And I saw
I agree.
Iteration that I think Siva's still working on.
The animations are very on theme.
Down like a castle. It's like a pop-up book.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what we were going for. It's like a story pop-up book where, there's like a whole scene that kind of plays out.
I like that this is a support class that
off to a great start.
Looks fun to play.
That's pretty cool. All right.
And is skill expressive, and you're not going to get memed for playing a support class. I think it looks really, really cool.
I think we're doing pretty good. There's some other passive things with the songs, but I think we covered things mostly. There's
Monologue,
passive bonus
changes quick wit.
Oh yeah, we can go to
menacing for the resonant weapon, kind of like cathartic, cheerful.
Weapon combo proc.
Nice.
If we want to do really quick.
Yeah.
So this ability, it's passive. You get pretty early on, and it'll give your weapon combo different proc based on which of your current melodies are active.
Also, this might be a hot take, but I think reactive gameplay and is kind of like modernizing. So Ashes is being designed as like an old game, capturing the magic of old games, right? Like when you first stepped into WoW, or when you first stepped into Tibia or whatever, like or Lineage 2 or any of these games. You're like, wow, this is an immense immersive world that didn't have like pay to win. It didn't have any like pay to convenience. You were just enamored by the world and the gameplay mechanics, and that was it. And it's trying to capture that, but with the caveat that games have evolved. Like, we've modernized gaming to a point where we're better at what we do. We're better at pressing buttons. We like to min-max the shit out of everything, even to the point where we like min-max where we don't have fun anymore, you know? And I think they're trying to bridge this gap of that old magical feeling and modernizing what MMOs are today and evolving the genre a little bit with how nodes are interacting, bringing back how crafting works. Like, it's not just some add-on type of system. It's actually meaningful in the world. I love this is what like literally makes me want and love Ashes and makes me want to play it. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot, but I like the direction that they're going, and I can just appreciate everybody at Intrepid for the amount of work that they're putting in. So a 1 month delay from going from like quarter 3 into quarter 4 is something that I don't give a shit about. I could not care less.
So with Cheerful Melody active, for example, it'll give a little automatic heal to a nearby ally.
And I also think very active and reaction-based gameplay will introduce the younger generation into MMOs and get them to feel the magic that we once felt.
Weapon attacks.
I think anybody not wanting reaction-based gameplay wants the death of this game because
and your abilities and making that rewarding back and forth.
The younger generation isn't going to care.
It's kind of the Bard's version of that interaction.
All right, let me find this mycelia.
Oh yeah, so there's different procs with that one based on if you have, I think, menacing music or cathartic music have an offensive proc.
No, little mushroom guy. Oh my god, he went flying. Did he miss? Did he miss?
Yeah, so he got wounded from that weapon combo finisher with cathartic. Reduces the healing he receives.
What the fuck? I want to go back. No. Just fucking flew right by.
Yeah, so he got wounded from that weapon combo finisher with cathartic. Reduces the healing he receives.
I love the spellbook.
Yeah, it looks so cool. Spellbook's also an AoE, it's a ranged AoE weapon.
I did not expect that.
Yeah, I guess they're talking about the Spellbook. We're ready for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so this is actually
a lot of people are saying it's too big. I kind of agree.
If you count the APOC book.
I like its animations. I like everything about it. I think it could be a little bit smaller, but that's fine.
Stuff out, and
I like it in its current form.
Smaller than this, but we decided we wanted to go in a different direction with it being self-animating and much larger. So this is what we came up with. It's part of the slow weapon group alongside the greatsword, so it's focused on slow, chunky attacks that deal a good amount of damage per hit. It's also, like Bucky mentioned, the first weapon with a splitting projectile.
I'm fine with it being big and being visible. So I just think it's too big in its current form.
It has a little bit of AoE capability baked in. So the first target will get hit for a good amount of damage, and then it'll split for minor damage to other nearby targets if there are any nearby.
And that should be an easy fix. You just scale down the ratio
more
of it.
Notably than that, though, it's the first self-animating weapon. So it's not attached like normal to a character's socket.
Which is really cool.
Well, there's
it allows the Bard animations to
not really for the normal purposes.
Go and do its thing while the book is doing its own thing.
And it's animating by itself instead of based directly off what the characters do.
What do I think of the look? Does it feel too stylized compared to the other art? So I've been saying this ever since Asmongold had originally brought up the like Ashes of Creation has no style. Like, as I've seen Alpha 1 into Alpha 2, like the move forward into the graphics, especially in Winstead, on the Freehold, the mayoral commission stream. I think Ashes has the generic medieval style, and I think that's all it needs. It like what Ashes looks like to me is a D&D campaign, and it is that generic fantasy with the abilities themselves have like their own little flavor, their own little thing, but the world itself, it doesn't need to have a crazy style. Like it doesn't need to be its own made up style. Like I feel like generic fantasy realism mixed with fantastical like abilities, emotes, and things like that, and monsters or just creatures in general. I feel like that is the style. I think that's fine. I don't think there really needs to be its own thing. I think generic fantasy fits exactly what Ashes is trying to be.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't really. Hey, thank you for the follow, Tilly.
That's a challenge that Matt was.
I don't think you need to worry about like what type of style. I think it's fine.
This does look great. I mean,
but yeah, the book itself, the way that it flips and stuff like that, that also looks like generic fantasy to me. Like where what is it, the Black Cauldron, where like Merlin animates all of the brooms, the books, the clothes, and stuff like that. That's how the book feels like to me. Like it feels like Merlin is literally making the book come to life. You are the thing that's making the book come to life. I think that's all you need. It's generic fantasy. It's not like it's super stylized in its own way. I mean, maybe it is like with like the book cover and stuff like that, but like when you look at it from this angle, like yeah, it has its own little like Necronomicon type of style, but like in its own little flavor. I don't know. I like it. I like it this way. I don't think it needs to change.
Look to it, right? Obviously, as you said, in the past we had that.
Yeah, exactly.
That one-handed kind of book look, and that's
like
relatively standard.
If you ask me, like if it's like a level 10 type of book, if it didn't have any of that blue shit on it and it was just a leather book, I would also be like, okay, that's fine too. Like, I don't think it needs to have anything extravagant on it. I mean, obviously this looks a little bit more extravagant. Tells me it's a different type of like spell book. I think if there's different varying versions of the spell book and like the rarity and the type of book that it is, I think that's really cool. I think that's needed. Just the same as like if a sword should have different variations of its stylized look based on level, quality, enchanting, etc. I think visual clarity is extremely important, and also like tells other players like I spent this much time to get this weapon. I feel like that's really important, but I feel like the overall style of generic fantasy is fine.
Right, that's a safe route to go when it comes to animating a weapon that's a book, essentially.
I'm also not an artist, so I don't really care that much. I feel like other artists might care more.
I think that's super unique, and it's a great look to it.
Yeah, I definitely love
that's just coming from somebody that just likes to play games and look cool and have cool things
because what we came up with
and enjoy a new world.
Unique and super awesome.
For sure.
Like you can see that building out in the distance. It looks Kalar-esque. It is Kalar. It is very medieval European. That's all you need. It looks like that. And I feel like elves, orcs, dwarves, they're all going to have their different variations in style types. That's going to really add to the world. So I don't think you need like all of these styles are just being kind of brought in from other cultural styles in general anyways. I think that's fine.
We wanted the book to be the star of the weapon combo more than the player, so you'll notice that all the very flashy animations and particle effects will be around the book itself and attached to the book itself instead of playing off of the
and this
character that's
somebody said this
there's still
either in my guild, I think it was in my guild,
visual effects,
but this is like very Tearsfall Glades-esque and I love it. And it's just bright out, but it is very Tearsfall Glades still. I do like that the spellbook is also an AoE.
That we'll get into whenever the skill tree.
So it's a slow casting, but also AoE based ranged weapon, which is pretty cool.
Status effects, mana recovery
effects, it's only one of its kind at the moment.
Damage increasing effects. That's actually all active in how he's spec'd out now. It's just the front end's a little bit messed up.
Awesome. He can kite it. He can slow it.
That's super.
Bard can function on its own in solo gameplay. This is all good.
Okay, well, I think we might
Fighter with a spellbook in their range slot. Interesting.
Side of this, perhaps.
Completely specking into intelligence would be weird, but wild.
Since you are the
I'd be interested to see what it's like.
To swap seats with me. I am literally seated behind Bucky.
I love how he makes Bucky corrupt, and then he's like, "All right, now swap."
Sit down on the mage, and Bucky.
Now swap with
over
me.
The reins of the bard to your very capable hands. So give us one moment, and while we do that, perhaps.
So, I wonder if. Hold on, holding. I'm gonna refresh this page, see if they brought up the. Oh, they didn't. No new video yet. I was gonna see if they had fixed the audio stuff, because the audio stuff can get kind of convoluted here. But they are gonna be posting a new version.
We're gonna see here, and
where the audio is fixed. But we're gonna have to deal with the unfixed audio for now.
Yeah, so we saw a skeleton, and we're going to see more skeletons here. I think this is the first time we're showing them off. And with the skeleton being such a common, fantasy undead NPC that we're going to see throughout the game, we decided to make sure to give them...
account sharing detected. True! How dare these dirty account sharers. Ban them. Ban them all.
So some skeletons will have an effect, the spirit of the undying on.
Also, we can see the
indicated by sort of
where am I at?
And a buff icon. You know that they're going to resurrect.
We can see. Fuck. Bad time to pause.
When they die, so you have to kind of keep that in mind. Some of them will. Spawn
He's changing his
in their hands,
things right around.
In their hands.
Same. I would also do this.
Farmers, so they're actually going to have farm tools, and then we might see some other variants later on. Some reapers, which are more powerful skeletons with scythes and wearing robes, and they have a totally different set of abilities available for them. So
very cool.
Right.
Yeah, so
spin. Okay, so we've got C, it's like a dashing icon, might be sprinting. This one is also sprinting, but purple. I wonder if it's like I don't know which one's which. One's a sprint, one's a dodge roll. I feel like the icon probably needs to change. E is a shield. Q is basic attack. This is showing a wand, so maybe it's like a weapon swap or something. I don't know. It's just showing another. Maybe that's just his weapon. I don't know. Interesting. And then you have like your regular base, but these are like different things that you could use. I'm not a big fan of C being sprint. Maybe that's the dodge roll. I don't know. Usually it's shift, but he's using shift for the second hotbar. So interesting things to look at.
I'm not on the lore team, but this is the lore that
which makes me want to say like that's a lot of hotkeys, right? Like he's got 10 like 17 keys here plus no modifier for the control, and then he's using other keys that are close to the WASD. It's a lot of hotkeys for a hotbar. I'm not sure if I like it entirely. I only have so many modifiers, and I only have so many fingers, and I can only reach so far in my keyboard. I am never reaching past 6, and you can bet your ass I am very rarely going to press the number 6 on my keyboard.
Me, the download, but
anything from the number 5 over and from T over, I am like TGV is about as far as my hand is going to go. Maybe B.
We used to live here, way back before.
It's a lot of hotkeys.
They left Vera, and they were kind of a rich family that had a big farm here and a bunch of houses. But after the return to Vera, we came back. Humans kind of initially populated the area and started farming again, but then more recently, goblins are now in the area and started doing necromancy and raising all the farm hands, and it's caused.
I have to remember to look at Steven's level whenever we see him.
I'm actually gonna go
like his POV
really quick. I think this guy right here.
Oh, there's a quest.
Rondo.
That's
a quest for us.
Hey, Rondo.
Okay, Rondo.
We may skip
name. Rondo.
A lot of this
Sharp.
just because they're just having fun playing.
Yes.
and there's not a whole lot to like really deep dive into, but there might be some stuff that I want to pick out.
It's called Daral Estates. Historically known as a source of pure essential water. Oh, okay. Maybe that's why the goblins moved in. Yeah, you got to read the quest here. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yep. So it's been overrun with goblins, vermin everywhere. So he wants us to get in there and.
You shift for all your letter keys. Usually I do too, but it's also what I use for sprint as well.
Have been shaking up this land and performing.
I also use shit for all my keys.
Lords or lesser lords?
I guess so.
Oh no.
So the ultimate goal is to get the elemental water from Dargal's well. Cool.
So I wonder if they can just skip everything.
So, all right. So we got to
investigate the mill, the warehouse. Okay, so you can't just go to the well.
Everything.
You have to do these little mini objectives in the quest.
Oh, that's right. We didn't have Trad in the party. Trad, I'm sorry, buddy.
You're busy murdering him.
I know.
I love the way that goblin runs, dude.
Yet being the key word.
The aggro seems a little weird.
Trad.
I mean, these poor skeletons.
Yeah, I can't tell where these monsters are aggroing. It can get a little confusing. Maybe that's something that they can improve upon.
Oh wow, we just pulled
Collateral damage.
We just pulled a bunch of goblins. Alright.
I love that shout. The mark is really, really cool.
Trivial monsters. If only there was a greater challenge up ahead.
If only.
I know, right?
Oh, there's a star.
If only.
Star indicates
God,
difficulty.
they have a star next to their name.
Oh, what are these stars?
So yeah, this was the first live stream I'll be showing off our elite system. As you would expect, the star rank means that they are stronger, more dangerous. There's going to be 1 stars out here, and there's going to be some 2 stars inside as well. So definitely take this encounter a bit more seriously than the enemies we might have found up until now.
Agreed. Brian, we should probably have you.
So he just boosted movement speed. He also is regenerating mana. Now it's just move speed and health.
Right in mycelium here.
Because I think he's using the counter.
Demoralize him with the tomato in the face.
I forget what it's called.
Hate that.
It's not a counter spell, but
They might like the tomatoes, actually.
Oh, give him a buff. No.
Discordance. He's got a bar for cheerful melody. That's pretty cool. So that he's got like a double bar that's happening. There's this chilling lament bar. So that's also being casted.
Pleasant, actually. Your little harp.
Yes.
I love the lighting in here.
Yeah,
So
great job.
I'm gonna note this. Yes, the lighting effects look really bad. This is where the lighting that was mentioned previously is they're still working on it. What they referenced in the Sand Squall Desert visual effects type of Midnight Magic dev update is that they are working on how they scale in differently lit areas. Obviously, this area is not optimized to the point where visual effects will, or I don't even think it's based upon area. I think it's based upon like skills are meant to be scaled based on how light or dark the environment is, and they're not there yet. So that's something to note here before we even keep looking. So visual effects look bad here, yes, but they are being worked on, and that is how they have previously mentioned that they are working on those like lighting effects being affected in lower lit areas.
Looks all like nice and weathered.
Yeah.
All the overgrowth on the mill as well.
So don't freak out.
Yeah, no wonder these guys moved in here. This place is damp.
Makes sense.
Gonna pull some mobs down after this.
Are we going upstairs or what are?
Yeah, we're going upstairs.
I think the guy we're looking for is upstairs.
Gonna let Brian.
I like how the whole party is like chilling down here. They're like, I'm a little scared. But it looks like Brian is just hiding them down.
Okay, we're making good work of this.
Okay.
Alright, yeah, you can move up into the left. We'll use this ledge. I'll pull here.
Yes.
Well, safe haven.
Yes.
It's almost like these guys created this area and they know exactly what they're doing.
Oh. I think the party leader has to, Bucky.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fupo's right here.
I got an axe.
Visual effects, particularly in low light areas, need some work, and they are work in progress. So it is what it is.
Switch from
And we had also recently seen that you can manually adjust the size and the coloring of these little regen buffs that are happening. So
Yeah, we're doing
that's all user
good here.
created.
Not too bad. Good thing we got a cleric here. I can imagine what it would be like with that one.
Me neither.
Cleric is still important to the party, absolutely.
The bard definitely makes my job easier.
Should make them play blindfolded.
What is this?
The Everlasting Sower. So this is one of the lords
Ooh, 2-star.
come to re.
2-star has 4,000 HP, by the way.
Yes.
Repopulate.
He's come to re at what the goblins have done to his land.
Reap what the goblins have sown, if you will.
Very nice.
Well done.
Lots of dad jokes going on in the
Like,
chat.
piss off all his friends. Isn't that what
He did. He's also
he
going
came
to
back-
Wait, is he getting
Oh
resurrected?
no, I was trying to loot him. He just jumped back up.
Oh, how'd he come back to life?
Yeah, so
do that.
the skeletons have a chance to have the effect that they will resurrect if they're killed. So you can notice it ahead of time via the buff icon or via the red glowing eyes.
Yeah, I saw the little resurrection bar. That was interesting. I missed that on the first watch through.
Effect from nearby other simpler skeletons. And they did that because
Panics.
you pulled those skeletons. So this Reaper's going to come back again. You might want to kill
what?
off his friends first. He's just going to get another resurrect from them.
Okay.
Alright, so don't focus the sower.
Tori and Bucky are getting low.
So there's little in-game mechanics that you have to be aware of.
Kill this sun guy.
Okay. So this is like one of those things where it's like, oh, this guy's just going to keep going back to life unless you know the mechanics. That's interesting. So this is something about like, we've had discussions with Vertec and a few other people that are very interested in the PvE aspect of Ashes of Creation, especially when it comes to open world. I could imagine you're in here, you're pretty low on mana, and another party coming in here trying to do the same objective, and they're seeing this Bone Guard, and then they come in and either try to gank you or they just help you out like kind individuals. So, I mean, this is kind of what you would visualize when you're viewing PvX and another party walks into this environment. You're pretty low on mana. They could kill you or they could help you out. And it's entirely up to, you know, whether they want to be corrupt or not and get like a bad reputation, or if they just want to be nice, kind civilian individuals. But this would be a very, very good situation to be like, hey, look, we're all trying to do this quest. This is probably what PvX looks like, right? And if somebody doesn't know the mechanics and they keep doing this and they keep using their resources, yeah, they're going to be at a more disadvantaged spot than if they just knew the mechanics and could defend themselves against potential PvXers. I don't think people are actually going to be PvXing here for these types of moments. I don't think it's really worth it. Like, what are you going to get? You're not gathering resources. There's no materials for them to collect. It's not like it's a huge like XP spawn. What are you fighting people for other than just being a dick? And that's what the corruption system is all about. So if you just decide to not attack them, you're not losing any materials. You're gaining a little bit of XP debt to get a commission quest that's going to give you more XP. So yeah, I guess there's not a real reason for somebody to PK you here. There's literally none. So I think when people think about these things, you should be aware that PKing somebody in these situations, in these scenarios, probably isn't worth it. This isn't really a farming spot. This is just a questing spot, you know? So I think when people bring up these concerns, you really shouldn't be worried. Like, if I'm walking in on this, I'm like, oh, people are doing the quest. Here, let me help them. Let me get the respawn faster so that I can do it. Maybe they'll help me with that. So yeah, I don't think this is going to be a scenario where you need to worry about other players coming in and killing you. That's that.
All right, I think we managed it in time before the Reaper could steal the buff.
Excellent.
I'm back.
When I think about like when to kill somebody, this just isn't in any realm of scenario where I'm like, outside of being a dick, there's no reason for them to kill you. There is no benefit for the killer, only negatives.
Of the skeletons with the resurrection effect at least one, so the Reaper can't steal that buff.
Okay, let's get out of here.
So you got the seeds?
This way I think's good, Brian.
Okay.
Out the side exit. This will lead us to the next objective. I'm just gonna sit and drink for a second.
I do like the lighting that's coming down from the center there, though. That's nice. Oh,
where'd you guys go?
Oh, that's Bucky. Oh wait, hold on. Steven. He's level 10. Why is his health so high? Why is a mage have 938 HP and the fighter has 913?
Yeah, let's get some mana back.
I think this is a safe spot.
Hacks, bro, hacks.
Recover.
Or Steven is gearing really weird.
Where'd you guys go?
Oh no!
Lost
We went out a little door.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I found you.
I was looting. Sorry.
That's important. Oh.
So beautiful.
Okay. It's very nice. This PLA looks awesome.
So we've got the seed.
Maybe he thought he could get away with
Let's
it.
investigate the warehouse.
Maybe he's like, oh man, me being level 30
That's east.
gave it away. Now let me just adjust my HP. Maybe nobody will catch on.
I guess like southeast, yeah.
I caught you, dog.
I'm ready.
I caught you, Steven.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I won't run ahead.
That or mages are OP, dude.
Got some goblins over here. And disarm them. Oh, we got a kidnapper back here. I'm gonna try and sleep him. Oh, he got broken up.
Yeah, careful. This guy's a 3-star. And the 2-star.
The movement on the little dog there.
Sorry, 2-star.
Oh, 2-star.
I do think the aggroing looks a little weird on the mobs.
If you hear him laugh, you should run away.
Oh, I heard him laugh. Oh my god.
Everybody run. Steven was caught in an animation.
Can I interrupt him?
He couldn't move.
You can indeed. Nice miss.
Demoralized. He does less damage. Nice, nice.
We did it.
All right. Everything's relatively clear. You can kind of see what's happening.
Man, I could really trip you guys up just by doing that laugh whenever I want, since that's my voice.
Wait, was it really?
That's so awesome. I love that part.
On the spot too.
Perfect.
My mind.
Audio guy, be able to do that.
Awesome.
So good.
Oh, this is cool building.
Yeah, I think that was something that other people had noticed too, is like the movement of these goblins coming out. Like, it looks really choppy of these guys.
Building. What's in here?
I think that was like something that people were noticing.
This is the warehouse.
More mobs.
Some goblins. Maybe,
Oh no.
Oh, classic Steven. Classic Steven.
God, I had no idea. There's a lot.
It was an ambush.
We're gonna need marks. We need marks on which ones. Who's marking?
I'm too busy
We got it.
dancing.
We need marks. Okay, I got a mark.
There we go.
Stay calm.
I'm on the sun. I'm on the sun.
A bug with one of the system managers that the animations were bugged. Oh, okay.
Just a little bit.
Where'd you hear that from?
Or I will not heal you.
Oh,
Shot's gotta go.
Is it like just like a system service on the server? Is that what you mean by system manager?
So can I. Haha.
He's throwing some tomatoes at him.
Yes, I'm the best bard though.
Oh, I got a dog on me.
This is where Bucky goes.
Got this. Let me just move my bars around.
His
some
team's
more.
like,
Yes.
why are you AFK? And he was like, don't overdoubt me, you dirty bitch.
Better.
Have you ever seen those clips? Those are so fucking funny.
Okay, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, we need to fight into there all the way up to the second.
He's like
floor.
playing chess, and he's playing like Apex while he's like clutching a Valorant round. People are like, why are you AFK? And then he just clutches the round, and then he's like, don't overdoubt me, you dirty bitch.
It's
I
powerful.
love those. Those are so funny.
break his shield or
stun
let
him.
him get in range.
Oh no. Steven's getting borked.
I also like that there are some spells that he seems to be like double casting, and double casting seems like a skill of like animation canceling almost. I definitely like the mechanics of being able to use multiple abilities, or like using an ability that's like queued with another one in order to create max efficiency for like DPS or mobility in general. I think those are really, really cool. Some people would say like that's abuse, or like Elder Scrolls Online type of auto attack weaving is really annoying. I think the reason why I was turned off from like Final Fantasy 14 was primarily because of like the global cooldowns were just like so annoying. I like playing a little bit more faster on the keyboard. So I think these are good. Obviously don't make them overabundant, make them only for certain things, but like off global cooldown abilities are also really, really cool to use in like certain situations. It's bugged. The performance managers is overtuned. Steven said it in chat. Oh, okay. He also said, here, I have it here, 1 second. Sound attenuation and layering is actively being worked on still, will improve over the next month or so. Because like right around here, like people are saying, oh, there's like a lot of audio stuff happening. And it seems like the layering or something like that, this is where the audio is like really being messed with. So the audio is not indicative of how it is in game.
There he is. Who is it? Revenant Reaper.
The recording was also borked, yeah.
Where is he?
I tried looking and refreshing.
Here we go.
It's currently not up still, so it's still being fixed in the process. Yes.
Is another shaman back here?
Yeah, kill this guy.
Oh, I see him. Okay, I got him.
We got Warlord Silvertooth from downstairs.
Okay, so the system manager of the animations would make that clunkiness. There was also, I think Jamie was showing it earlier. It's up here. I'm gonna kind of skip through here because these are like we've generally seen most of everything and how things work. I think it's like when they climb up on that ledge there.
Oh, I can.
It's like here. It's like this spot.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
By the way, I think this is really cool that they can do this.
Oh yeah.
That they find like a little ledge that they can hop on and then mantle up. Like that's peak. I love that they can do that and that they're showcasing that. And Stephen messing up, of course. Classic Stephen. So yeah, it's right here.
Alright, I'm killing the one on.
So it's like where the blizzard happens.
Oh, there's a bunch.
Oh my god.
Right here. So you can kind of see it like
that's
going on the walls and stuff like that and like cascading down. Obviously that's not intended, work in progress, these things happen.
it's huge.
Alpha, you know. But like these are like, it's very visually cluttering right here. The blur is too much. Obviously these things are being optimized and stuff like that. Just pointing out that not everything's perfect. And eventually these things will get cleaned up. But I do like a lot of the abilities. I like the way that they're looking. I like that this little pixie thing is like visually indicating that they are getting mana regen and stuff like that. Like it's not a pixie, it's a musical note that's spinning around. So I think these are all good, like little minor visual effects that are being implemented. Obviously you have the lightning and stuff like that has been in the game and has been being polished over. You see the resurrection happen over there on the left side. All of this is really great. Obviously lighting and stuff need some work when it comes to like lower lit areas. I don't think visual effects needs to be like overly talked about, but just noting some things just in general. The other one thing, the one real big criticism I have right here is for the ranger.
Yes.
Right there. I don't think you need all those like green streaks for every single one. I think that's a little bit too visually impairing. If there was one ability where I was like, I want them to change this, it's that one. And I noted that in the Node Wars one as well. I think that one just takes up way too much visually, and also the green streaks are just too much.
Every time manner. That kind of sounds.
But everything else looks great to me.
the
Then they go into this castle area. They have really nice stained glass windows. They work their way in here, and they get like a little rest spot.
super cool.
So that's really nice.
I love the stained glass windows up there. Oh, isn't still.
They work their way up through here.
Let's deal with the.
They just need to loot the title watchful eye.
Oh, lots from the
Or Tyler's watchful eye. Tillers. Gosh, I need to read a better.
We need his watchful eye.
Volley changes since the Node War stream hasn't looked right. Actually, Caravan PvP, right? I don't remember.
Or we can summon.
I don't remember when they did it.
One in there.
I'm ready when you guys are.
Okay, so this is the final boss, or not the final boss. This is the Timeless Tiller.
And luckily we cleared out all the other skeletons.
Also 2-star, also around 4,000 HP. Okay. I think all of these are meant for group content, so soloing here might be a little difficult. Hence the high HP numbers.
Get away.
case.
And then they make their way over here to the main estate where the well is. Oh, this was crazy.
Pots though.
Steven has 46 HP and like no mana. Just getting chased.
Look at this thing. Look at that thing. That goblin should be in the Olympics.
I'm clenching my butthole right here.
We're almost there.
Dread is coming.
Oh, you guys are.
He's got the Bard movement speed buff.
30 hit points. No, I'm.
We're out by the.
Where are you?
Just outside the entrance to the left.
There he is.
Found him.
All right.
Oh my god.
Bucky's on the way. And Gambit.
Yeah.
Bucky he still only went down to like 100 HP though. He didn't full swap on the Gambit. Ooh. I wonder if that's like a little safeguard thing that they have for the Gambit.
Yes, thank you.
But that's clutch.
I got everything else.
Those clutch moments are perfect.
I get some mana back.
Tori dead nearby. Yeah, don't hit
So our
him.
fighter's dead. Here's the well part.
To the show.
Absolutely, guys. Well done. Thank you.
And
Burn.
3-star 11k has a resurrect, much like the other ones. Except this one wasn't done by a mob. This is just inherent because I assume he's the boss. So the 3-star equals like major bosses for quests. Obviously, world bosses like Tumok have way more HP. They probably have closer to like 100k. And I think that's one of my negatives is I don't like world bosses that just are HP sponges. I think HP sponging and just like however long it takes to DPS down a world boss doesn't feel great. I understand why they do it. I hope they can find it like either in rage mechanics at like certain percentage HPs and anti-Zerg mechanics that doesn't make world bosses feel like HP sponges. I feel like that would be my biggest hope for Ashes of Creation when it comes to these big things that are like PvX oriented, where you are actually wanting to fight against other players to get these rare materials. I think that should be a focus on the design team is how do I make this not an HP sponge, hard to play against, and also consider PvX at the highest degree while also considering like a bunch of players just Zerg balling through it, and how do we stop that? I feel like those are the questions that we need to answer, and I think HP sponging and just drawing out long world boss mechanics feels terrible, and that's generally the answer for like boss mechanics. So I'm hoping they find a resolution around that. Anyways, let's go to the Q&A here. I do like the little emotes that they're doing.
Amazing job with the visual effects. I know you're not here right now.
The Junior Dwarf dance was sick.
Feeling good.
He's got his little vibe going.
There's a lot of people very excited to get your
dude. I loved this showcase.
I enjoyed this.
All right, so now we're back on stream. Here's the Q&A questions. We can finish up with this.
As well as answer some questions that were kind of asked in the community in various spaces. So I'll toss it to you, Stephen, to first talk about those topics that you wanted to preemptively.
Absolutely. So, judging obviously by you guys' commentary as I'm watching with my old man glasses chat, loved the perspective
Stop
from
saying
the
you're
Bard.
old man. We're like the same age. So
I don't know. I'm like
making her feel bad.
Seeing a lot of people are liking the direction of the Bard gameplay in the class. 3 points want to comment on very quickly. With regards to lighting is actively, literally being updated and worked on right now. That work probably
as we are doing this live stream,
representative state until I would say the end of August, roughly. But you're getting a preview of what that looks like now with regards to the daytime light, with regards to interior lighting, with regards to eye adaptation, exposure settings. Like all of those things can kind of play nice or not nice with visual effects as well. So some of those exposure settings inside of the inside of buildings,
so as I was explaining,
are going to feel a little too bright until we dial that in. That's just tuning, right? That's tuning that we do with the lighting guys. We have a fantastic lighting team. We have fantastic visual effects artists.
Oh yeah, the stained glass is really cool. I saw some people noting that.
Oh yeah,
it's
super
cool,
good.
Way to bring in light.
Second point, with regards to sound effects. There were a few things I think that were happening in this video recording. One was that the different perspectives had a different scaler setting on in-game sound effects. But second thing is that the audio team is still working on sound layering and attenuation.
I think it'll be group maneuvers and also player-based maneuvers. I don't think it's going to be like a rotation-based gameplay at all.
And you will see some significant improvements there. Obviously,
and it's a good thing.
We don't want that intensity of sound even in battle. It is something that they're very well aware of and is being addressed. The third thing with regards to the book, I know there's a lot of questions about, well, is the Bard a book class? The book is just one of many weapons. Any class
it's just
can use
like he could have used a wand,
right?
daggers, swords, axes, whatever, spears, halberds.
Animation work that needs to be done with the book, such as having it immediately disappear when you're in an idle state versus
he brought that up. I missed that part. So the book will disappear in an idle state later on. That's good. That's good to know.
Hip slot or something. That's something that's still being done. So those are just the 3 big things that I saw. Mark.
I'm also fine with the book being small on the character and then growing, but I still think it needs to be scaled down a little bit.
I know you were taking some notes and
questions. The wonderful community team and social folks have been adding stuff, so thank you to them. But the other thing that people wanted to ask questions about that were not related to the Bard stuff was the animations, like creatures in the background animating.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you want to touch on that.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
So I think this is the quote viral.
So essentially, one of the ways that we address kind of client-side performance, right, when you're rendering all these things on your PC, one of the ways that we kind of help with that is we have a significance manager that essentially will throttle NPC animations depending on how many NPCs are on screen, depending on where those NPCs are in proximity to your client. And right now we need to tune
I missed this too
a little bit more. So there's some bugs still with that manager that essentially we need to tune. So that's why you saw some of the NPCs, some of the goblins and whatnot, animating at kind of.
What do you mean by that, Oracle?
Looking
if each weapon type will look different for each primary
manager.
I mean, it should.
And a lot of people like the book and some people don't. You can choose which.
Maybe I'm not sure what you're trying to say.
Have a book if you don't want to.
You mean like the animation, like the great sword on a Renkai will look different on like a Kalar? Is that what you mean? Or like the archetype, each weapon type will look different? I think it's race-based. I don't think it's archetype-based. Yeah, I don't think it's archetype-based. I think it's based on racial animations. I don't think the weapon will change much in visual aesthetics. Outside of like maybe like how a Renkai will hold it may be different than a Kalar holds it, but even then maybe not extremely different, maybe just slightly.
people talking about that quite a bit. So the first question here is, if there are multiple bards in a party, do all their buffs stack with each other?
Ooh,
Buffs
good question.
Of the same type do not stack, but you could have multiple bards in the party that are keeping up multiple different buffs, essentially, right? So
different bard buffs will stack on top of each other. So you could have mana, you could have your mots and your hots, and then you could also have like your speed buff with 3 different bards. But you can't have 3 mana over times being applied by the same bard. Those are unique in that regard. Interesting. Okay, so you may want to have 5 bards in a raid, and 5 bards will give you every single buff that you need. And in whatever situation, radially, like maybe that's something that happens. You may not even want 5 bards because with the specific talent tree where you can have 2 going at the same time, maybe you choose to have 2 bards and 4 things being applied. So maybe that's something that you can do as well when it comes to like raiding and like comp building for raids. I think that's really interesting. I think that's cool. I also think it might be a little OP, so maybe we need to watch that a little bit. So they are party wide. I don't know if they are raid wide. I imagine raid is a party. If they are only like your group inside of a raid, like your 8-man group inside of a raid, that may be another way to balance it, or to limit how many people are affected by the bard's melodies and stuff like that. Could be really interesting. Maybe you need to have like a 3 tank, 2 bard, and 1 cleric group or something like that, while you have another group that has like 3 DPS, 2 bards, and etc. So like maybe you can like mix up like raid groups like that, like where it's a hard cap of 8 people for how many people are affected. I think that could be interesting to look at as a limiter. I really hope bards are not entire raid wide, in my personal opinion. Otherwise, you could easily kind of get less bards in a party composition to really fulfill out like full synergy. I'm not like really for or against, but like maybe I guess it depends on how the raids are built and how difficult the PvE actually is. Like, do you really need more than 2 bards in a 40-man raid, or are we gonna limit it because having 2 bards in a 40-man raid is OP? That's something to think about, I think. I don't know. I don't know how I really feel about it until I play it.
Once you're not going to stack the same buff.
Okay. And then do heals crit?
Heals do crit. Yes.
Heals crit.
Heals crit.
I think we saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot who mentioned it. Somebody mentioned it. I think we saw the hit, the heal crit. It was
all of the buffs that are.
I think it was Elamoto, Big Hoss.
Are group buffs. Mm-hmm.
They are group buffs.
Can bards use melodies while mounted? They basically from that they're also.
He didn't elaborate on group buffs,
such as speed applied to players when they're mounted.
That is not something we've implemented yet. It is something that we have discussed, having some abilities being capable of being used while mounted. As it stands currently, the player character cannot utilize abilities while on a mount, but it's something we'll be looking to add potentially in the future.
Okay, thinking about mounting.
The next one here is, if players have other movement speed increases, will those stack with the bard's buffs / pep?
Yeah, as long as it's not the same buff name, the intent is for those buffs to stack.
Yeah.
Okay, so pep is its own unique skill or ability, and other movement speed buffs or things like this can be applied on top, but not 2 stacks of pep. Heard.
So you can't have 2 bard.
There might be, right.
ones on you.
I mean, you have Nimble Dance and Epic
Returns
Melody
on certain waterfall stats
that stack.
are being affected by buffs, right? So, for example, if you have a set bonus that's conferring a casting speed bonus for your casting speed waterfall stat, and then you have a buff applied and you have some other effects that are applied, all of those things combined as you reach a certain diminishing return threshold, you may start to get those buffs deprecated.
Okay. So you can't overbuff due to either diminishing returns or hard caps for the most part. We've also saw some hard caps were mentioned inside of this live stream.
Muted myself. Next one here is, if you are outside of the range of the initial melody cast and then move in, do you receive the melody effects?
Yes. So the melody is a channeled effect. So as you move out or back in, you'll become subject to the effect again. And remember, you can use the melodies and it'll just keep going on in the background and other abilities while the melody is active.
And then, do the instruments do anything, or are they purely cosmetic? People are asking.
The instruments are
counterpoint. That was the ability I was thinking.
Cosmetic, but we have plans for instruments in the future.
Instruments currently cosmetic, plan to be different later.
Yeah, we have a lot of plans for instruments to be incorporated in the future, including like custom song authoring for players to utilize. To have skills within
custom song authoring
to use those also in a role play fashion. There's a lot of ideas there.
Interesting.
And then, can players use macros to help bards like weave melodies? I think macros have come up before in the past in regards to many classes.
This is a really good answer, by the way. I loved this answer.
That's a good question. We need to be careful about macros, right? Yeah, that's a good question. I would say, I don't remember how I answered this in the past.
We'll touch base with you more on macros in the future.
Exactly. Good call.
If there's a balance of it, right? Like, we want to make sure that people are not...
anything that's like the chat is just like, fuck macros, no add-ons. I absolutely hate it. And then there's like one person that says, yes, macros, easy. And then like... might have been trolling.
We're not promoting that type of behavior.
But almost everybody hates macros, it seems like.
Generally, I am opposed to macros, just to give my personal stance on it. I don't think that we should be building classes around
there's one that says,
idea that people
oh my god, please have macros. Everybody else is saying no.
Effectively, leverage their skill with a particular
macros
class.
Equal bad game design.
In that regard, and given the likelihood of macros really to lead down a path that's not desired from a gameplay perspective, my disposition is no.
I think okay, so this is something that Chibi mentioned and something that Sly Kashita is saying. Mouse over macros would be nice. I think if you implement mouse over ability control, it's not a macro. I think if you just design it to be like you're able to have mouse over abilities, I think that's good. I don't think you need a macro for it. I think if you just design it into the game, it's fine. I do think there should be mouse over type abilities as well. Like targeted abilities should be mouse over and stuff like that. Obviously there could be some like directionally based. It could be like an option that you have whether you want certain abilities to be mouse over or not, or you could have like a modifier like a shift that could which is kind of hard with all the hotkeys that they currently have, but you could have like a modifier that could make sure that certain abilities are mouse over targeted like abilities
to macros
so that they're not macroed in.
The stance that
it just is a design concept that is there.
I would say no, we are not going to be friendly to macro usage. Macros should not be required to play our classes, right? This is a skill ceiling issue that we want players to be able to play the class themselves, right, without needing to have a macro.
Is that Lou Perza? I remember her from Planet Side 2.
And then
talking about Margaret.
The next thing here is in regards to the humiliate status effect. They saw it on the stream and they're wondering what it does.
Yeah, I don't think we actually. Oh, we did. It's a 30% damage reduction.
Have as an Alpha 2 feature in the future, so it's like fear, humiliate.
Which one was this again? This is humiliate as a SAS condition.
Yeah.
Humiliate. Did we show what Humiliate did? I thought we might have hovered over that. Let me ping Bucky, and I'll have him let me know. 3% reduction.
We answer all the questions. So really, again, for you, if you're here watching us live on Twitch, if you have them, you can improve in chat.
Okay.
We'll switch over to our studio.
One, obviously, as we move towards Alpha 2, things are getting very hectic here. But
just kind of skipping through here
because we are getting some wins, significant wins, especially as I talked a little bit about at the beginning of the stream with regards to last week and the live player testing that we did for our Alpha 1 testers. That was a very big win for the studio. In addition, we are continuing to hire. We still have jobs that are posted and open.
They're still hiring.
Some announcements recently. I think it was at was it Bungie?
We've seen a few people headhunting.
They just had layoffs.
Yeah, and obviously it continues to be.
I'm being summoned for D&D. I almost forgot about D&D tonight.
I was going to say pretty hectic turmoil industry right now. Intrepid intent.
I really okay. Let me hurry this up. I think we're good.
I've had an interview with Steve.
It's crazy. You guys need to be super.
Need to.
Let's get to the end here.
You.
Totally forgot about D&D.
Video playing in the background. Something went weird with it. So I'm going to fix that. And we will continue. So whilst I'm doing that, the first question here is from Ace1234, and they're wondering about skill ceiling. How important will knowledge and deduction be in the game, and will you avoid tedious data gathering methods? For example, will players need to observe enemy mechanics to progress instead of grinding to learn skill effects?
So the question is, how important will data gathering be?
How important will knowledge and deduction be in the game, and will you avoid tedious data gathering methods?
Oh, I see.
Knowledge and deduction is always important.
And solving deductional design that doesn't feel.
He's talking about game puzzles and whatnot.
Specialize into tasks like caravans.
Okay.
And then we have a question from Neurotoxin who wants to know about Bard utility. Will Bards have the opportunity to specialize into tasks like caravan or ship buffing, like pacifying enemy aggro range?
I think the short answer to this is no.
Improving gathering interactions nearby and others.
I also think having like utility-based Bard skills is not.
I mean, utility overall is
very good, but I do think it would be good for like node wars, like where you like buff gathering stuff, like your gatherers and whatnot. I think it could be good. It would take another skill point away. I don't think it would be used very often. I think it'd be a very niche skill, or it would be used particularly for anybody that's trying to bot or whatever. They would just make a bard and level up that ability and try to gather faster. I think it can come with some very negative reactions from people that are trying to abuse this type of mechanic. I don't think it's very. I think when you're designing an archetype, you want to design it primarily for combat, and non-combat being generally universally all the same
across all different archetypes, right? So the idea isn't that any one particular archetype is going to excel far beyond its ability to utilize these more utility-oriented skills. Each arc.
Also, Oracle, this is kind of like showing what you asked earlier, is like weapon skills being like having like different visual effects. Like you can see he has like a staff. He's a Vec. He has a staff. This is his pose. She has a wand as a Vec. That's her pose. Like they're different poses with different like weapon skill types. But they are generally, I don't think they're like they change much based on race or archetype. I think they are just pretty static to what the weapon ability is, or the weapon is. And then maybe racial will change it slightly. Like maybe a Vec is like more hunched over and like leaning onto the staff a little bit more than a Kalar is.
Type should have a healthy, semblance of those utility kind of skill.
What do I think August and September will bring for monthly streams? I thought end of August would be the A2 manifesto, but because they're doing the AMA and that's where the roadmap and everything is going to be, I think August. Oh boy. What does end of August now look like? I have no idea what August brings, actually, now that I think about it. Yet alone September. Oh boy. Yeah, there's a lot of speculation and shit that's happening here now. What do you think, Mio? What do you think?
That address.
I have no idea. I'm lost.
Threats, again, puzzle-related type of gameplay. And the Bard has its own.
And they still have to make the rogue. They still have to make the Bard or the summoner. They haven't mentioned anything like that. They have been mentioning a lot of the summoner. I imagine summoner comes before rogue, which is really, really surprising to me, considering like you would normally think that like a rogue would be easier to design than like a summoner would be. So the fact that they mentioned so many things about summoner means to me that they are working on summoner before they are working on rogue. That would be my only hot take.
Are a little bit light in the archetype designs. It's something that we will be incorporating more of as we flesh out the kits a little bit further in like Alpha 2.1 release and 2.2 releases.
And speaking of, fleshing out the kits a little bit more, Alejandria would like to know about Bard as a secondary archetype. Can you give us an idea?
Oh, I don't think they'll be removed or they'll be revealed like August or September by any means. No. They will be after A2 launch, still, even with the delay. But just in general, I think they're actually going to reveal Summoner before they reveal Rogue, which I think is really interesting, just based off of like the information that they are releasing.
Of how the Bard will augment the other archetypes when creating secondary classes?
Yeah, I mean, to answer that question.
There was a lot of augment questions. The augment questions were basically like what I've been presuming the whole time. They just want to get the base archetypes down before they start worrying about augments. And like they have ideas for augmentation, like for the Bard, there'd be regen and buffing as an augment. But as to what those are and for how they interact and how they look and stuff like that, we have no idea. So there's all that too.
The archetypes. And then when we get into having the rogue and summoner added into the base archetypes, that's when we're going to start focusing on augmentation and the secondary class choices.
I think they've already
exciting.
re-shown the tank and the cleric at least twice.
Llamas wants to know about
shown them twice.
Gameplay. So
not really re-shown them.
Party gameplay. And now they were curious about.
So it'd be weird to see them again before those.
Bards have unique mechanics that will allow them to significantly influence like large scale battles. If so, can you give an example of that?
I think the sagas are probably where those larger scale effects live, right? We saw one of those be
right. We see those, and then I think the other one was the castles by Ludulu, and basically it's like, yeah, if you take over a castle, you're granted permission. I think that's that. Okay. So we're gonna start the raid. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful night. I'm gonna be making some clips out of this because I thought there were some like really great moments. But thank you all for coming. Really appreciate it. And I've got a couple videos coming out. And Ashes of the Grey, which is my guild podcast, will be on Sunday. So be sure to tune in on twitch.tv/Grey Sentinels. I will see you all. Thank you all for coming. Love you guys.